Welcome, everyone, to the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame to his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Also with us, special guest Ariel. We're checking back in from this summer's conversations. Who doesn't love that?
Yes.
Was it the summer? Was it the summer? Was the last time we talked?
Yeah.
It's been a while, Grump. Yeah, I was about
Oh,
to say.
I just didn't know when it was. Time flies when you get old.
Time must be flying at the speed of light for you, Grump.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Anyway, for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. This is a twice a week All Islanders podcast that takes place every single Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. Also, we've got a secondary podcast that takes place every single Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It's an all-sports podcast where we talk anything and everything athletics. NFL, NHL, NBA, college athletics, anything and everything sports in world football. With myself, the Grumpy Old Man, and Son X.
Son X.
And that's called TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Now, Ariel, remind me, you have a podcast too, right?
No, I was gonna do one with my fiance because he's a Rangers fan, but I tried. I can't. I'm just not as talented as you when it comes to the podcast.
I was hoping you'd say it. You just can't put up with a Rangers fan talking hockey that many hours because
that's tough too. It is.
Oh man,
TJ, I think it's awful nice of you to say you invite people to I subscribe, and no, just do it. I'm not inviting, just do it.
There's a cordial invitation coming to you.
It helps the algorithm, or so I've been led to believe.
Oh yeah, that's right. If you hit a thumbs up, it helps the algorithm apparently. Yes. So do that if you enjoy the content. That apparently helps. Who knows? That being said, Islanders, since the last time we jumped on the podcast there, Grump, beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. Well, they beat number one that Saturday evening, which we had expected. They beat the doors off of the San Jose Sharks. You got to beat one of the bottom tier teams in the NHL. You got to beat them in convincing fashion. So, last week's podcast was named Taking Care of Business, beating the lowly teams like we have to do. So taking care of business was a fun bit of it. Last night's game against Toronto, going into it, I would not have expected a 7-2 result.
No. And for me, what did we learn last night? What did we learn? Toronto's not going very far.
What? I thought you said they're winning the cup, Grumpy.
It's always dependent on the goaltender. Samsonov looked like dog shit. The second goal he gave up, you cannot give that goal up.
No.
It was really, really weak. And then the tip goal from Clutterbuck, it's like, that's it, game over. Then you saw Toronto just kind of fall apart. And I think I mentioned to you about 2 weeks ago, TJ, that to me, I kind of got off the Toronto bandwagon about them advancing far because I can't pick them in the series against Tampa. I mean, I know Matt Murray came back and played against Ottawa, I believe it was Saturday, made 50-something, whatever it was. The fact that you're giving up that many shots on goal is concerning. And the fact they don't have a goalie. I don't believe in Matt Murray. I certainly don't believe in Samsonov. And we have I don't even think this is a hot take. We got the best goalie on the planet now. I don't think there's anybody better than him right now. I don't even close. Not even close.
And so unfortunate because we all know Ullmark's going to win the Vezina this year solely because of the team in front of him. I mean, I think even Shesterkin last year has a .965 save percentage on Boston's team this year, and same thing with Sorokin. Obviously, you can't, solidify that in stone. We don't know, anything could happen, but Ullmark is not a top 5 goaltender. Skill-wise, he's not.
Okay.
I agree. And he's really cooled off the second half, so much that up in Boston, they're saying, well, gosh, should we go with Swayman? And Swayman's been really good.
Yeah, Swayman has been good. He's a good goalie.
He's had 2 shutouts. His last 2 times out, he's had shutouts. Those are big. Those are first world problems that Boston has, though, right? But I'm going to tell you what. I can't believe I'm going to say it. Got a feeling about the Islanders right now.
Holy shit!
What did I say? What did I say?
What's the feeling you've got, Grumpy?
I'm going to tell you. What did I say about a little over a month ago? I said of the suck teams, which was everybody past the top 6 teams in the Eastern Conference, whoever got hot was going to make the playoffs. I guarantee you we're making the playoffs.
I think we have to go 500 to make the playoffs, and I think we're going to do better than that in the last 10.
The other teams are not capable of putting a win streak together. Florida had a golden opportunity. Who'd they play? The Flyers last night?
Yep.
And they got steamrolled by the Flyers. I mean, Pittsburgh, they made whoever their first time playing an NHL rookie in goal for Ottawa on Monday night, 50-something shots on goal. They finally tied up in the last 4 minutes. Tristan Jarry gives up a goal immediately to lose that game. I mean, Pittsburgh, I'm sure they're playing Edmonton tonight. I expect that to be a 6 or 7 goal loss, depending who's in net. Probably will be Jarry. I don't expect Pittsburgh to. I think it's going to be Islanders, Pittsburgh, 7-8. That's what I think.
Pittsburgh's playing the Colorado Avalanche tonight.
It doesn't matter. They're going to lose to Colorado and Edmonton same night.
That's talent. That's how you know you have that type of talent. But yeah, I think we do have the best goalie in the world. You know, we've said all year, hey, he's top 3 no matter what. I don't think you can argue any other way out this. And he's been fantastic. He's been everything spectacular, and every single Islander fan's wildest dreams is what Sorokin has been. And, you know, this is up obviously for Save of the Year candidate. And to paint the picture, you know, for those listening at the audio version, the Islanders at this point are down 1-0. Toronto, I think, in the first period, Toronto for majority of the game looked the better team. But, you know, we're at a spot, we're down 1-0. We're kind of hemmed in our own zone. And I'll let you guys watch and listen here.
Back to Riley along the blue line. Now Marner with speed. Oh, what a shot by Sorokin on Gustafsson.
What can you say about that other than that is the save of the game, and we're still in the first period?
Save of the game, AJ. Come on now.
Well, that's the second time this year he's had a save like that.
Yeah.
Second time.
Yes,
I mean, and also, just look at Gustafsson. He kind of took it for granted he was going to score there. Just kind of floating. Not really looking, I got this easy. That's what I noticed in Toronto's play last night. The second goal, the defenseman does a nice job stripping Parise of the puck, and all of a sudden he's got his head up. He's not looking. He doesn't know where the puck is. It slides off his stick, goes right to them, goal. The same thing on the other side. Clutterbuck's next goal. The guy doesn't clear the zone. He gets lazy. We pick it off. Deflection by Clutterbuck. I mean, those little things that we're doing right now bode well for us. I don't know how far we can carry this when we get to the playoffs, because we will. I just don't know who we're going to play yet. I want to say Carolina, which is bad news for us. Boston is worse. I mean, maybe we get lucky and the Devils sneak into first place and we get to play the Devils, who haven't been in the playoffs. Maybe that's an advantage. But we're playing as good as we can play right now. Playoff time, of course, everyone else is going to ratchet their play up, but let's see what happens.
I think Boston, this is such a hot take, I might get ripped in the comments for this, is overrated as hell. Ooh. I really do. I really, really do. And, like, look at Markstrom last year. He was, second place in voting for Vezina, and he just absolutely did terrible in the playoffs. I mean, he solely was the reason why they lost that series against Edmonton, arguably. Sure. I mean, they were putting up 6-7 goals, and then Edmonton was putting up 8-9 goals. I mean, you can't do that. Olmark's not proven in the playoffs. Now, I might stick my foot in my mouth, and
you just did. You did.
Yeah, but they don't scare me. They really don't scare me all that much.
Okay.
I think we match up better with them than I think anybody in the East, other than Tampa Bay. Yes. And I think other than Tampa Bay is the only other team that I would say matches up better up against them, because Tampa also has better skill than we do and can match Boston's skill. They have the goaltending that's proven, and they have the grit, and they have a good defensive structure and good coaching with Cooper. But with us, I mean, we were not supposed to win 2 years ago against them either, and we did. Granted, Tuukka Rask, I know Olmark's better. Tuukka was hurt. We hurt Brandon Carlo once he got injured. That was a turning point. But I don't know. They don't scare me. I think they're destined for an upset.
Ooh.
In the first round, no matter who they play, other than Florida. I think Florida, They sweep Florida. I think anybody who plays Florida in the first round, they sweep them.
I'm not sold on Carolina's goaltending, and they lost Svechnikov for the year, which is a huge loss on top of losing Pacioretty. But they have given Boston a really hard time. Why? Because the same thing that Boston struggles with, we struggle with. Speed and aggression on the forecheck.
Yeah,
forecheck. And I feel we're very similar to Boston. That's why our games are usually close, not so much this year, but usually those games are really close anyway because we play very similar stylistically. Boston just has. I just think this is Boston's year.
I don't know. I just don't. I don't.
Only
I
got
don't
11
like Boston.
losses.
I know, but I just don't. I don't like. Look at Tampa that one year that had a phenomenal year, and I think that was the year they got swept by Columbus. I mean, I don't know. I don't know with them. I know that Tampa didn't have the grit. I've heard you guys say that, and they went out and got it, and then that was it. But I don't like their depth scoring at all. Their bottom six is average. I think our bottom six is much better than their bottom six. They added Tyler Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi hasn't really done much of anything. Taylor Hall's still injured, right?
He's practicing with the team.
He's practicing. All right.
Yeah. He'll be back for playoff time.
And I mean, look what we're doing right now without Barzell.
Well, that's something I was about to mention. Now, when does that eventually catch up with us? Because we're the worst power play in the NHL without Matt Barzal.
10%.
Miserable. And now we're without Brock Nelson with an upper body injury. You know, what the severity of that is, I don't know. People could try to play doctor on here, but we haven't heard anything as to what the severity of that is. I feel like we talked about how, right, Sorokin made these 2 huge saves. And almost this against Pittsburgh, Letang was almost lackadaisical with that backhanded shot too, just like Gustafsson here. It's like I was talking with Grumpy about this earlier. We are playing like we're playing Game 7 in playoff style hockey right now, where we're exerting 110% effort every single night. Could you do that over a stretch of a long time? Not too long, but could you carry this momentum throughout the playoffs for certain? I could see that as a possibility early, at least. Sorokin's been fantastic. The team has looked motivated beyond of what we've seen as of recent. We're playing more of a defensive style, but when you've got the best goalie on planet Earth in net, you could steal a few games. I don't think we match up well against Boston. I think the best case scenario is the scam bracket, as Andy was mentioning a few shows ago, is somehow the Devils sneak in, win our division, and we're playing the Devils the first round of the playoffs, because I could see that being one that, is kind of 2 boxers exchanging blows per se.
The Devils haven't been there in a long time.
Yep, and I think they're going to struggle first time there. I mean, you're going to face adversity. More veteran-laden teams are going to perform better against a young team like that.
Where the Islanders would have the advantage against the Devils, and you saw it last night, honestly. We are so adept at interfering with teams and not getting called. It's what veterans do. Toronto gets that penalty late in the first period, and Matthews comes back, and almost 15 seconds later, he draws a penalty. Parise draws a penalty on Matthews, where he's skating through the zone, and Matthews gets his stick kind of up in his body. You see Parise hold it, lock the stick up, and spin. That's a veteran move. And he draws the penalty. Gets him off the power play. They go in the second period, 15, 20 seconds in, they score because Toronto's asleep. I mean, little things like that, we're doing extremely well. Ariel, you mentioned what happens when Barzal comes back. Are they going to play the same style?
He's going to have to. I mean, Phil's facts, TJ's favorite. I really personally like Phil's takes as well. But
Which one? Because he'll give you 3 takes on the same subject in a week.
Yeah. But he tweeted out, so he was answering a tweet I saw in the replies on my Twitter. He's going to have to buy in. 13 is going to have to come in and buy into this, or else it's just not going to work. And I mean, he knows how to play this style of hockey. And I think with the winning and making the playoffs, I don't think Barzell's coming back until the playoffs. And honestly, I'm still not even sold on that. He's not skating yet. I mean, if he's not skating by next week, late next week, I think he's done for the year. Like, I don't think he's even coming back for the playoffs.
You don't think about it. He hasn't been doing any skating, and now we're like 3-4 weeks, almost a month. You don't say, "Hey, my game is predicated on speed and my playmaking ability, and now I'm going to go from not skating for a month to where, hey, I'm going to get a week of skating and I'm good to go for the postseason."
Yeah, no. And it's not precautionary keeping him out because we're winning. Because I've seen those takes too on Twitter. Because he would be skating on his own if it was precautionary, at least.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have no issue keeping him out. If he's hurt, I don't want to rush him back. I'd rather get bounced in the first round or not make the playoffs at all than risk him being injured long term, like having a full blown torn ACL and having to get knee surgery and stuff. But if Barzell does come back for the playoffs or even before the playoffs, he has to buy in. He knows the system. They're not really straying far away from what Trotz has done. We know now that Lane knows how to play that style, and he can make them buy into that style. But he has to buy into it, Barzell.
I just feel like I can tell when the Islanders are going to score because, like I said, yesterday's game, for me, the first 2 periods, Toronto dominated us. I mean, for scoring chances and every other thing, and we get one wild scrum and bang, a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how long can that continue? I don't know. Is Matt Barzell going to buy in? I don't know. What's going to happen? All I know is Bo Horvat really misses him. Really misses him. He had 1 point in the last 9 games since Barzell's been out.
I'm okay with that, though, because our depth scoring is there. Yes, I know, $8.5 million, no goals in the last 10 games. TJ, you're about to rip me to shreds about that. But
look, his mouth
he's doing so many good things. I mean, we can't deny that. He's pretty defensively sound in the forward position. He's a good defensive forward. He's pretty good on the penalty kill, much better than Bailey was. I mean, a corpse is better than Bailey, but he's good in the corners. He's similar to Lee in the corners. He wins a lot of his battles. He makes good passes in the corners, and he's apparently clicking since Barzell went out at like a 68% on faceoffs.
When was the last time Lee went into a corner and actually came out with a puck? Was it 2 years ago?
No, I feel like he's always in the corner and he comes out with it.
No.
Horvat's allergic to the corners, Grump.
Horvat, yeah. Here's the thing. I know TJ wants to attack that. Now, here I'm going to say is you pay 8 years, $8.5 million. You're looking for somebody to put the puck in the net.
He will.
I know he does a little, and I love Bo Horvat. TJ knows. I mean, I want him on this team for a long time, but he has to produce more. That's why you're getting paid that money.
Sure. But I think that when Barzell comes back, I mean, the power play, I saw ESPN threw it up yesterday during yesterday's game. The power play before the Horvat trade was at like 18%. And then when Horvat came over and before Barzell went out, it was at 35%. I know that was only for 6 or 7 games, so it's kind of hard to judge that short amount of time. And then now without Barzell, it's at 10%. I mean, a lot of Horvat's goals in Vancouver came from the power play.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
that's how you win in the playoffs. I mean, 5-on-5, it's going to be tough. You have to do well on specials.
Yeah.
You really do.
With Bo Horvat, you're right. You don't get paid, Grumpy. You don't get paid $8.5 million to play good defense and to win the draw. I'm sorry. I don't care. You got to put the puck into the back of the net. I know that we're getting a lot of scoring from secondary pieces and pieces we wouldn't expect it. I mean, who the hell is expecting? Number one, Matt Martin's had a fantastic year this year. We've ripped on the $6 million man definitely in years past. He's had a great year. I think this is the best year we've seen since.
With depreciation, he's now the $3 million man. Actually, less than that because we're more than halfway through his 3rd year. So maybe the $1.86 million man.
the $1.5 million man. He's had a great season this year. And like Cal Clutterbuck, he's looked at time periods before he had this long rest. He looked a shell of what he was in the past. And it's just, this team is full of bottom 6 guys that when things get hairy and they get dicey, they find a way to, hey, we squeak a goal out somewhere it's not expected, where there's just mass chaos and pandemonium. That's where we thrive. That is playoff style hockey. But at one point, the lack of talent always does shine its way through. I mean, Simon Holmstrom even had a point yesterday and a goal. Simon Holmstrom, get ready to shine and polish the Calder Trophy because Simon Holmstrom's bringing it home, Grump.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, and that's Simon Holmstrom. He sucks. Sucks and blows, both.
I tell you. People get excited. And Phil's made this point, and I assume this is kind of what you were hinting at too, Ariel. But Phil said, I don't care. Bo Horvath can come away with 0 points if we play the defensive style system and then we find points elsewhere.
Okay. I just want to touch on that a little bit. Great. It's regular season. For us, it's playoff season.
That's right. We're playing at a much higher energy level than every team we're playing right now.
Absolutely. And when it gets to playoff time, like Toronto will be better than they were last night. We're not going to face Toronto. I'm not even concerned about Toronto. We're not facing Toronto. They will not make it to where we'll have to play them. We're not going that far. But you're going to see these other teams really pick up their play. Boston, they had a little bit of a slump there for a while. And a slump means that they won 7 out of 10 games.
They lost 2 or 3 games.
Well, that's how good they've been all year. They've been dominant. I mean, injuries, I think, are the only thing that can really derail Boston at this point. They went out and they made some moves at the deadline. You mentioned, Bertuzzi hasn't done anything. Well, neither is Horvat for us. And they're still winning, even coming through a slump. And now it's like, well, Olmark's not – he's had an issue where he needed a support cat or a support fish or some ridiculousness. And he was upset because his dog or died or something like that. And he was depressed. I'm like, dude, all right, I'm glad – if I'm a Boston fan, I'm glad we have Swayman. If you fall apart because your dog dies, I think there's an issue.
He had to get a support. Hold on. He had to get a support fish. No, this is going to be. Are you joking? I can't tell if you're joking or being serious.
I don't know if he got a support fish or not, but I think that his dog died and he was so distraught that he couldn't play. I'm like, what? If one of my children died, I'd still be able to do the podcast. Like, hopefully, if it was TJ.
God forbid.
That or X, Grumpy. Grumpy just keep moving right along. Business as usual.
That's it.
Oh, God Almighty! Yeah, I think that it's a sure thing. We're not missing the postseason. The teams around us are. We're playing as good as we can play right now, and that's a good thing, right? I think we're hot. We're hot. How long can we stay hot though? I'm worried that we got a little hot too early.
Now here's the thing, though. Yesterday, didn't the Rangers have a 2-0 lead on Carolina?
Yeah, I watched that game.
And everyone's been telling us Carolina can't beat the Rangers. Rangers got Carolina's number. Rangers don't have Carolina's number. When Carolina's playing their game, they're real tough to beat.
Yeah, but they use so much energy, and in a 7-game series, look at them, look at their track record in the playoffs. I mean, it just doesn't hold up. You would think with the forecheck that they have. I mean, did you watch any of that game? Any time that the Rangers were on the power play, they gave them no time, no space. It was just constant pressure. They couldn't make a pass. I mean, none of them could make a pass. It was bad. And the Rangers power play has actually been doing pretty good the last couple of games, but that's just not sustainable for 3 periods in a 7-game series.
Okay.
The Rangers beat them last year, and arguably they're way more talented this year, in my opinion.
I know where Grumpy's going to go with this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know you are. Now, you realize they beat the Rangers when Carolina was on their 3rd-string goalie. So, like I said, when you're losing goalies, I mean, the Rangers, I know they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, but they played the 3rd-string goalie for Pittsburgh, and then because Pittsburgh should have won that series.
Yeah.
And then Domingue
isn't Tristan Jarry kind of like a 3rd-string goalie anyway? So, I mean, like, they only have the maximum they can have as a 3rd-string goalie, Grump.
You know the thing, Trailer Park Boys?
Yeah.
That's where Tristan Jarry's from.
So
they wound up losing that series, and then they are playing with Carolina's playing with their 3rd-string goalie. I think Carolina's
Freddie is though. Shesterkin can outplay Freddie any day of the week, though.
But he's better than the kid Paparakov or whatever his name was. Yeah. 3rd-stringer last year. Here's the thing. I like Carolina. I think Carolina's really good. And you say that there's no way they can keep up that pressure for a 7-game series. You realize that's the same type of stuff that we do. Not as good because their players are younger, But that's the same type of thing that we try to do. They're just
but
way
we
more-
have grit and they don't. And like you said, we get the gritty goals, the ugly playoff goals.
That's
They
true.
don't. They look for the fancy cross ice passes and the dangles and all that stuff, and it just gets turned over.
Isn't that fun to watch?
It is. Oh, it's great to watch, but you only get to watch it for so long because they don't go very far in the playoffs.
Well, we're gonna see. I think they're my dark horse. I've written off Toronto though. Just to let I'm doing.
Oh, they're
the
still my favorite.
eulogy for Toronto has been done. After
You
what-
hold on. You're giving a eulogy already for Toronto. Oh,
Absolutely.
no.
They're
Now
still
this-
my favorite.
I put this up on screen. to
Pittsburgh,
say
bye bye Pittsburgh,
And-
bye bye.
the scam possibility is very unlikely, right? The Hurricanes have 2 games in hand and 2 points ahead of the Devils. Best case scenario, I think, again, is that we match up against the Devils in the first round.
So do I. Well, here's the thing.
I'm thinking it's right that if we're the 7 seed, we're playing against the Hurricanes.
The Canes own the Islanders. I know we beat them 1 game this year. How was it the second game? I mean, it resorted back to form. Before
That was no Barzell though, right? The second
No.
game.
No, Barzell was there. He
Yeah?
was there. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is their style is death to us. Young team, super aggressive on the forecheck, generates a boatload of chances. They're not afraid to put puck on net.
No.
Sorokin, but what is the advantage for us? Sorokin.
Mhm.
Sorokin is the reason why I'm picking us to absolutely make the playoffs. And if we can get by the Hurricanes, I think we go Eastern Conference Finals.
I think a lot of these. I think whatever series, whoever we play, goes 7. Is that a hot take, guys? Is that a hot take?
I don't see if we play Boston.
TJ thinks we're getting swept by everyone.
I think we can beat. I think we can beat the Devils. That's a team I do believe that we can beat. It's sometimes when you take that huge step forward, it's sometimes too much too quick. And they went from a team where they've been perennial, just like bottom 5, bottom 10 in the NHL, to where now, hey, I thought the Devils were going to make maybe the postseason and edge us out, but nobody expected them to play this well. And eventually, you're going to have that moment where you wake up. And I wonder if it's in the postseason for them. It's first time being there in a long time, But the Bruins, I don't see us having any chance or shot in hell against.
I think I think that we can beat the Rangers as well. If we can get past Carolina, which is Carolina they're like kryptonite to our Superman. I'll be honest with you. They're just better than we are. They skate better. They play better. They look better. They have a better celebration. All that stuff. They're better than we are. But if we can get past them, I think we would beat the Rangers or the Devils. As much as the Rangers have improved, those games always come down to something fluky. I still think we have the best goalie. And then, you go to play Boston or Tampa, and that's where the road ends.
Yeah. Eastern.
Bye-bye, Toronto. I'm
not willing to give up.
Eulogy has been written for you,
Yeah,
Toronto.
I'm not giving up on Toronto either. They're
I'm not
still.
giving
I
up on
said that
Toronto.
they were going to win the cup before the season started. I got to stick with it.
Yeah, I said that too. But you know what? I'm jumping off that bandwagon. I'm not afraid
Because
to-
of one 7 goal defeat. That's why you're jumping off the bandwagon.
They were sloppy in the defensive end.
That game meant absolutely fucking nothing to them. I
Well,
think 10 games remaining. They have 2 games in hand over Tampa, and they're 3 points ahead of them in the standings.
Okay.
We are out here again. I don't think we can underestimate how much effort we're seeing from this team. Here's the thing: could we do that over an 82 game season? Probably no. Can we
but here's
do
the
it
thing.
over a 20, 30, 40 game stretch? Sure, maybe.
And think about it. We played like dog shit for most of the year. So now we're seeing it. Maybe they're saying, hey, you know what? We're going to take off the beginning of the year and then ramp it up for the end, going to the defensive style. And hopefully that will get us over the top.
Lane Lambert and Lou Lamoriello were playing 4D chess. They just started slow, and they knew that if we started trying harder, we were going to turn it up to 60%, guys. We're going to have a 50-game preseason, and then we're going to really ratchet it on, and that's when we're going to play some playoff hockey.
There you go.
I got a question for you because I saw you were a little upset about the Engvall trade. What do you think about him now? Are you okay with him if he extends?
It's a waste. I believe that it's the wrong philosophy that we're taking, and I believe philosophically we are headed in the wrong direction. I believe that this is a team to where we've seen the peak Eastern Conference Finals. We've got fantastic pieces around here, and I really believe that a retool could have helped us head in the right direction. I was not a fan of the Horvat trade either. You're just continuing to say, hey, we believe that this team currently is good enough to beat Boston. We believe that this team can beat Carolina in a 7-game series, that they can win it all. If here's the sad truth of it is, if that guy between the pipes doesn't play like the second coming of Jesus Christ, we don't win. We don't win games. And next year, do we see a step back from Sorokin? The guy is having, even though his stats are right, you look at him, they're not putting up video game numbers. He's had an unbelievable season. I don't expect him to come out there and because if you are a goalie who says every single year I have this unbelievable, undeniable talent that I'm not going to have any games off and I'm going to look fantastic, you're a Hall of Famer. Do we have a Hall of Fame goalie in that? Maybe.
Yeah. But, I mean, look at the numbers last year. He had a 925, and, I mean, our defense was pretty bad. It's not like he's putting up Shesterkin numbers last year or Ullmark numbers this year. He's staying within the 920 range, 927 range. I think it's sustainable. He's had some pretty bad games this season, and then he's had some pretty crazy games this season.
I think our defense has been worse this season than last year. And I think player personnel wise, our defense is better player personnel wise this year. But that's the reason why we've seen since we've started to play this all out effort, back check, full commitment to playing 200-foot hockey. We've noticed that less pucks are even going. We're still we've conceded we're top 5 in the NHL with goals conceded. So we've done a good job making sure we don't concede goals. But I think it all has to do with goaltending rather than defensive play.
Except the last probably 15 or so games, our defense has been pretty structured.
Mm-hmm. And, you could play. It's not like I'm worried about the team playing structured hockey. I think if they commit to it, they can do that. I'm just more concerned of I think we're playing at 110%. What happens when these other teams start to turn the dial up as well a little bit? And I think that we're beating the teams and taking care of against the teams that are on our schedule. That's all we can do. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not expecting, we're doing exactly what any Islander fan could hope for right now. As I mentioned, we're at the point of no return. You're not going to be able to suck bad enough and lose the last 11 games and keep the 12th overall selection or anything.
We're never going to suck that bad. We're never going to suck that.
Exactly. But now you're at the spot where it's like all you can hope for is some sort of playoff success. But to get back to the question, I think philosophically, we are headed in the wrong direction.
But why? Because Engvall is young. Usually Lou has gone for older. Pajot was 29 or 28 when we traded for him. And he was not he was not known for his skating. We got him for a defensive forward, face-off, grit, bottom 6. That's what we got him for. Engvall definitely belongs in the bottom 6. He's been okay with Palmieri, though, and Nelson. And he's fast. We need to go young, and we need to get fast. He's not going to hurt our retool if we ever end up going into one. He's going to better it, I think.
I think he hurt our retool by giving up the 3rd-round pick. Because
in 2024, though.
When you go ahead and start layering all these bottom 6 I'll say Jags in the term of grumpy, just another guy. You don't allow for the Jags that are in your system to get a chance to play. Like everybody liked what they saw with Durando and the 2-game stretch we saw him. Oh yeah, we liked the effort. We liked what we saw out of him. Well, see you later, Durando. You've got no.
Does he play wing at all or no? Durando or just?
I thought they bounced him around a bit. I thought he played the wings.
Because I don't think Clutter's coming back after this year. I think he's done after this year. And I think Bailey has played his last game as an Islander.
Ooh.
Well,
I think he's going to continuously be a healthy scratch throughout the remainder of the year, unless Nelson's hurt, and then he's going to, fill in for Nelson. But other than that, he's done, I think.
Okay. I forgot the question. It was so long ago.
The Engvall. Did you like the Engvall trade?
It was a Matt trade for me. And the reason I don't like it is he doesn't fit what this team is. Even at his house with a broom, he will not go into a corner to clean out the cobwebs.
No.
So that's not what this team is all about. He's allergic to contact. Yeah, he can skate. He's a bottom 6 guy. He doesn't blow up my dress. He just doesn't do it.
But a 3rd-round pick in 2024, it's not a deep draft. It's not going to be a deep draft. 3rd-round pick, you're not going to see him with the way that it has gone for us. You're not going to see a 3rd-round pick up with the big guys for at least 3 years, at least. And there has to be some sort of injury. And Engvall, he's not going to be bad. I mean, if say he replaces a Clutterbuck or if Parisi retires after this year, what's the problem with that?
You don't need to pay money to a guy who's going to replace a fourth liner.
And a guy who's going to be an unrestricted free
He's
agent.
not going to get a lot of money, though. He's going to get like $2.5 million.
Is he an unrestricted free agent this offseason or still restricted? I can't remember.
Not, I think he's a UFA after this year. I believe.
I'll look it up. But yeah, I couldn't
Yeah,
remember.
look that up.
It's just a third-round pick in the next year's draft is so.
Just a third round or just a second round. They all add up at the end. You can always move those picks to move up in the draft.
I remember Sorokin was just.
You would never do that.
Yeah, Sorokin was a
third round pick. Well, he would never do it. It doesn't mean that.
Yeah, come on, Ariel. Sorokin was a third round pick. Let's say we could have had Sorokin. Oh, now it's come on. Sorokin was a third round pick. You just gave up Sorokin. And then we're not even talking about the playoffs.
Here, Engvall for Sorokin. We're being hyperbolic. But, it's the way we look at it is every single kick at the can. Okay, yeah, he'll be an unrestricted free agency. Yeah, you could have had him for free in the offseason.
Yeah, but he was going to be gone. He was going to be gone. What Lou did, he was smart when it came to Dubas. Dubas is not that good of a GM. He knows this is his last hurrah. If they don't get out of the first round, he's canned. So they needed to clear up cap space because they wanted to pull in more people. They had to try to get rid of people. So Lou swooped in and said, "Oh, here's a third round pick." I guarantee you, people would have traded for a second round pick for Engvall. And Engvall, we don't even know he could be a second line winger.
No.
But we don't know. We don't know. He got buried down on Toronto because of the talent that they had.
Good enough.
No. Who was he replacing up in the top 6 for Toronto?
That's my point. He's not
good enough.
If he's a second liner for us, it just says the lack of talent on our end.
It's like what I've seen with Hudson Fasching. And I like Hudson Fasching. I like the effort. I like Hudson Fasching more than like Engvall.
So do I.
Absolutely. It's like with Hudson. Oh, well, so many incompetent teams have just looked at him and just not been able to develop and just screwed the pooch. Or is he in a spot to where it finally clicked a little bit for him and what you're seeing is the maximum potential? Hey, maybe, right? Again, like Engvall, how old is Engvall? 25, 26 years old?
27, I think.
Yeah, I think he's 27.
27.
He is what he is. I mean, like you're not. I don't. Not many players say.
Well, Brock Nelson got. Now here's the thing. Brock Nelson did get better when he turned 27.
Brock Nelson is a much better player than Engvall. Please, come on.
He's like Engvall Senior. He's like.
Engvall never got a chance, though. Engvall never got a chance in Toronto. I'm not saying he's going to be a Barzell or Bo Horvat, but to say that he sucks and he's a jag, I mean, he's better than Clutterbuck. He's better than Martin. He's gonna be better probably than Parisi. I mean, I love Parisi. I think what he's done has been great. But he's good for probably on a good line in an more offensive system. He's good for probably 15 to 20 goals.
You think he'll be better than Anthony Baviglia was? The reason I bring that up is because sometimes guys just need to change your scenery too. Like,
but come on.
Hold on. We look at what happened.
He need to change the scenery, though. He was never going to. Okay,
that's my point, though. We talk about incompetence when it comes to our general manager. The fact that he says, "I'm going to watch this asset, which is Anthony Baviglia, and I'm going to watch him just continue to decline in value every single freaking year, and then at his lowest point he's ever been at, I'm going to say, yeah, let's go ahead and sell here." And then another team realizes what the actual ability he has. They put him up with a team. But I'm just saying, like, you could. I don't think Anthony Baviglia is an extremely talented player. I don't think he's a fantastic guy. I think he is a third line guy, a streaky third line scorer. But when you put him alongside with Elias Pettersson, he lights the scoreboard up. So like if you put Engvall along with like Matt Barzal, maybe he lights the scoreboard up, but it's not him the same way that Matt Molson, P.A. Parento, Kyle Okposo all look good with John Tavares. Good players seem to elevate the game of players around them.
Okay. Yeah, which wouldn't be a bad thing, though.
Okay.
We only have one Matt Barzal, and we're going to be using Bo Horvat. He already needs to be linked. He already needs to be latched up and anchored up to Matt Barzal in order to play better.
Okay.
Matt Barzal also needs to be latched to Bo Horvat to play better too.
No, Horvat needs Barzal more than Barzal needs Horvat.
Of course, but Barzal's not a point per game. When we put them together next season, he's a point per game. Barzal's not a point per game without Horvat either.
Well, because we don't have any talent.
Right.
We don't have no talent.
Right.
But Bo Horvat is 1 point in 9 games without Matt Barzal. So
or 9 points in 20, even if we.
Yeah, but Barzal, I love Barzal. I'm a Barzal. Believe me, anyone will tell you that I love Barzal. I ride hard for Barzal, but he went 10 games without 1 point this year. So granted, he played with some doozies, Bailey, Holmstrom, Parisi, Bailey, terrible line mates, constantly rotating. Do not put the blame on him at all. But I mean, you don't see McKinnon and Braden Point and all these other guys going 10 games with no points.
How often are McKinnon and Point being paired up with ECHL players? Because that's what Simon Holmstrom is.
Not often.
What is it, like 6 points in 40 games for Simon Holmstrom? That son of a bitch should never he should never. Okay, Matt Martin, the freaking goon, the fighter, Matt Martin.
He was playing on the first line.
He was.
Yeah,
for UK playing on the first line.
And Cizikas.
He actually didn't look bad, and neither did Cizikas.
I know, they didn't.
That's the problem with the Islanders.
You can put a fourth line guy or an AHL player up there, and they look, oh, it's just as good as the next guy because there's no talent.
That's the problem. And that's why I don't pick us to win a Stanley Cup because, and here's the thing, I thought Casey Cizikas looked great with Matt Barzal.
Just like Fashing.
Tremendous.
Just like Fashing.
A couple of fourth liners up there. You know what? Because they skate. They dish the puck, they move, and they get the puck back. That's why they look so good. I don't understand how people don't grasp the fact that this is how you have to play with Matt Barzal, or how the Fossil has not been able to acquire players who play that system with him. Bo Horvat moves without the puck. Anders Lee does not. He just stands there. Horvat moves. Casey moves. Fashing moves.
Bailey does not.
Bailey does not. Parise moves. And I thought Zach Parise was great last night, by the way.
He was.
He was great. Sorokin won the game. For me, he was star two. I know Clutterback had 2 goals. Parise scoring the first goal, getting to the right spot, drawing that penalty. It's such a veteran move. It's such a veteran move. You don't see the Torontos doing that. You don't see the Rangers doing that, the Devils doing that, the Hurricanes doing that. Boston you see doing that, but not those other teams. Why? Because they're young and they don't know what it takes. Just that little thing. Hey, Toronto had dominated the period, dominated the first period, had a 1-0 lead, should have been 2. If that goes down 2-0, game over.
Yeah.
Because they absolutely carried the play. They make that same, all of a sudden the Islanders pick up the pace a little bit. Yes, the penalty on Marner, the trip going across the front of the ice. I tell you what.
Soft.
Well, you know what? He tripped him. He did. He tripped him. He did. He tripped him as he came across the front. And
but how do you call that after a Brock Nelson boarding sends him out? I mean, that was a bad boarding.
Here's the thing. This is what I think happened. Brock was looking at the guy. He commits to the hit, and he turns. He went, I want to get hit. Gets hammered.
No way. Hit him right in the numbers. That was bad.
Not when he commits to the hit. Not when he commits to the hit. I got no problem.
Who would figure a 6'2" guy that should be the hammer is always the nail? Like
he's 6'3". He's 6'3".
Who, Brock?
Brock
like
is?
I said,
I thought he was 6'2". Yeah, he's 6. I thought he was 6'2", 6'3". He's always a freaking nail because he just doesn't have the toughness.
He's soft.
He's just soft.
Yeah, he is soft.
He's soft. He's like Engvall. You can't have 2 of those guys on the same line. Can't.
I like that line.
The Mr. Softy
I
line.
like Engvall. I'm glad we traded for him for a 3rd round pick. I'm thrilled.
Grumpy, all I could think about was you calling Josh Bailey. Josh, or whatever, like the little softy clip. I'm gonna see if I can find that. That's a good one.
We got the Josh Bailey special. I can't remember it.
I'll try to see if I can pull it up, Grumpy, because that's always a classic.
It is a classic. I have to.
I just don't. I don't like the mindset of saying, "Hey, we need to give up a 3rd round pick." At that time period too, and I still stick by this. I don't think the Islanders are beating. If we finish, I feel like we're probably going to go 7th, unless we're extremely hot. And watch this. As soon as I start saying, yeah, we're going to probably finish 7th in the conference, it's like you step on a rake. I'm about to have the freaking other end of the knob come and smack me right in the face.
No, but the other teams again they suck. They suck. Buffalo. When was the last time Buffalo gave up less than 5 or 6 goals a game? I can't even remember the last time. They've already, their bags are packed.
Yeah,
they're
done.
already. I mean, they just flat out collapsed down the stretch.
They can't even score goals anymore either.
I mean, they just fall apart. I thought that was a game that maybe we would struggle with because when Buffalo's moving, they're a tough team for us too because they're fast and physical and they skate hard in the offensive zone. The defense is terrible. Owen Powers, maybe the worst defenseman I've ever seen in the history of hockey at this point. And their goaltending is not great. But you just see the wheels have just come off in Buffalo. Usually it's midseason. They waited till the end this year. I mean, and then you see Ottawa. Ottawa's done. Pittsburgh, done. It'll be Florida. Florida will come in 8th, only because by default, and we'll come in 7th. That's what's going to happen. But it doesn't matter, because the top 6 teams in our conference are probably the top 6 teams in the league this year. I just think it's tough. If somehow we can scrape, you're right, TJ, I agree, where best case scenario for the Islanders is somehow Carolina falling apart, the Devils winning division, and then we get the Devils in the first round because they haven't been there before. But if we have to play Carolina, like I said, I'm going to have to put the grumpy old man, the gauntlet of challenge has been thrown down. I've been saying for how many years that the Hurricanes just own us.
But if you go back to 2019 when we got swept by Carolina, there was 2
regular season.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about when we got swept by them in the playoffs after we swept Pittsburgh. That series was such BS. There was 2 goals called back, 1 for goaltender interference. I'm not saying we would have won, but that changes the momentum of that could change the momentum of a series. And then the high stick on Lee. I mean, we didn't play them bad. We weren't getting run around terribly every game. They were all close games.
They shut us down in the neutral zone the whole series. They're better than us.
Yeah, for sure.
And even now, they're better than us now.
Every team in the playoffs is going to be better than us. Well, in the East.
Except maybe Florida. I don't know.
That's not good. That's not good. So,
that's not good.
But the last 2 years, that's been the case too.
I'm not sure about that. I thought more in the past, Barry Trotz being a very tenured and Hall of Fame caliber coach helped in those situations. And I always do wonder what that wild card looks like now that you have Lane Lambert, first-time head coach, back there coaching in the postseason. I in my heart of hearts, I cannot believe that he is going to fill the role just as seamlessly as Trotz did. And Trotz got a lot of shtick for mistakes, and I think that poor management that he had of players and poor management of situations. And I think that there have been items that Lane has struggled with this year too. Again, you get a little bit more slack when you're a first-time head coach, but I'm not expecting him to pick up in the postseason with those huge ebbs and flows and say, we're not going to miss Barry Trotz.
What?
You think? Okay, playing in the postseason. You
just went on so long. I'm like, what are you talking about?
In the postseason,
yeah.
You think Lane Lambert's going to do just as good of a job coaching as we saw with Barry Trotz? I do believe that coaches have an impact in playoff hockey. Maybe you don't, Grump.
He's been there forever with the team. The guys know what to do. This is not their first rodeo.
I guess they don't need a head coach. Just coachless.
I think he'll be okay. I mean, I think he's done much better now. I mean, even the decision to take Bailey out and make him a healthy scratch, Trotz would have never done that. And look what every line he tried. I mean, Lambert really tried too. He put him everywhere up and down that lineup, and he finally realized and came to the conclusion, no matter what line I put him on, no matter how many minutes I only put him on the ice for, anytime he's out on the ice, there's a problem. It's a liability. So he's like, that's it. We're done. We're done here. It's over.
There was too much suck to go around.
And you're playing Horvat and Nelson 25, 26 minutes a night because Bailey can't play for more than 6.
I don't look at that as being a bad thing.
No, but you take him out and you put somebody that's more capable. Holmstrom, I know you don't like him, more capable than Bailey. Capable than Bailey. He is.
They both suck.
They do both suck. But I happen to like Holmstrom. I don't think he's going to be a superstar, but I think he's sound defensively. I think he makes pretty good plays sometimes. Should he score a little bit more for being a first-round pick? Sure, but we never hit the nail on the head with those draft picks. So.
He's Durando 2.0.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Holmstrom will never make the Hall of Fame. I realize.
No, you don't think?
I'm going to guarantee that he will not make the Hall of Fame.
I thought it would be a first ballot.
Maybe for the Hall of Shame. but
Well,
not the Hall of Fame.
Hey, he is going to win the Conn Smythe after we win this year's.
Okay.
Win this
If
year's Stanley
we
Cup.
win the Stanley Cup, I'm already telling you who the Conn Smythe winner is.
It's going to be Simon
It's number
Holmes,
30.
baby.
It's number 30. And you say you love Phil's takes. Did you like Phil's take where
No, I already know where you're going.
Sorokin is basically Kirk Cousins?
No, terrible take.
Without
Terrible.
Think about it. Think about how behind the national broadcast.
We're not in a playoff spot.
No.
Not even close.
But think about even when the national broadcasters are saying that Sorokin's the only reason. Think about how obvious it has to be, except to a goof like Phil.
Yeah.
He's been asleep at the switch.
Yeah, I don't know what that take was about. I mean, I know that he's had bad games, and there has been games where, we put up 5 and Sorokin let in 6, or we put up 4 and we let up 5. But that's so few and far in between, and the amount of games that he saved us and kept us in it, even the ones that we lost, the 2-1 games. I mean, if we had any talent, like you guys say, we win those games.
Yep.
If you're only letting in 1 goal, you should be winning those games. 2-1, 2 goals, you should win those games.
For some reason, I want to say the amount of bad games he's had this year, is 3.
Yeah, and I mean, look at all the shootouts that we've lost with him in net.
I don't care about shootouts.
I know, but I'm just saying, that's not on him. That's on the offense.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I could care less if he loses shootout games.
Me neither.
But I mean, for bad games, I want to say maybe 3.
The Nashville one, St. Louis, and there was
Vancouver. The Vancouver game.
Vancouver game. Ooh.
Not good in that one.
Yeah, that was bad.
But I mean, I could count them all on one hand. That's how good he's been. How good he's been. And it just makes it even more egregious that we didn't trade Varlamov at the deadline.
Hey,
yeah.
Do
you think Varley played this week with the back-to-back? Do you think they give him Columbus and then Sorokin Buffalo?
Why not?
It depends. Depends what the other crap teams below us do. If Florida and Pittsburgh manage to win a couple of games and they mathematically are supposed to beat us, you'll see Sorokin play both games. Here's the thing. Lambert is not he's not Trotz. He's not a slave to the alternating system. He rides the hot goalie as he should.
Yeah, and this is the stuff that I like. I was a little hard on Lambert in January when we were on our bad stretch.
There were a lot of people who were like,
yeah.
Lane.
Yeah, I was just over it. The way that
Phil said that. He was part of the Fire Lane Lambert crew.
Phil, let me tell you something. Phil's a troll. Phil is a troll. He'll give you one sided, and then the week later he does the exact opposite. He flip flop from one day to the next. He's Philly flip flop. I mean, I
shout Phil out so much on this podcast. I like all his crap on Twitter. I say I'm with you, and he doesn't even give me a follow on Twitter. It's blasphemy. Phil.
Oh,
if you're listening, Phil, it is blasphemy.
Damn. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. You were mentioning before we derailed that. Before I derailed that, let me correct himself. You were mentioning that you were critical of Lane Lambert. You were critical of Lane Lambert back in January.
Yes, I was.
Well, I didn't know if you wanted to say, because I think the change of the system obviously has resulted in more positive results in the win column, and I think that
it's not.
People are gonna call me. Oh, he's a Rangers fan. He said this. I think the NHL, the teams. We talked about the disparity between the good teams and the bad teams. I think there's more bad teams, significantly more bad teams in the NHL this season than there have been in years past. I think the West Coast is miserable. I think this may be one of the worst West Coast conglomeration of teams we've seen in how many years would you say, Grump?
A lot of years.
And the East Coast, the difference between the haves and the have-nots are significant. I think there's a lot of young players that are going to be the future of the NHL and going to be on the rise. But I think that the teams in general just
here was what you've seen in the Eastern Conference this year. It was 8 teams and then us and then the rest of the suck squad. You've seen Washington and Pittsburgh. They're done. They're done.
They should both have been rebuilding.
Well, Washington started doing that. Pittsburgh, no. I understand why they haven't done it when you still have Crosby and Malkin and Letang in your lineup. I understand why you're not going rebuild, even though they should. But I like what Washington's done. But Washington is done too. They got too many old guys. Yes, they had a boatload of injuries. Maybe they bounce back next year. I don't know. But for how long are they going to bounce back? And then you say you've seen the elevation of the Devils, the Rangers the last 2 years. Boston, who I almost wrote off this year going into the season. I'm like, their team maybe won't make the playoffs. They made the 8th playoff spot last year. I'm like, they're maybe done. I didn't have any faith in Jim Montgomery. I expected Florida to take another step forward. They didn't. You see the coaching dynamic, losing Joel Quenneville and having to settle for who's the clown they got?
Maurice.
Paul Maurice, I'm sorry.
Captain quit.
Right, but it hasn't worked out for them there, right? But then you're still seeing Tampa Bay's on the downside. Regardless of where they are, they're a franchise that's on the downside.
I agree with that.
You see, Toronto should be there. They're still missing something, and they don't have a goaltender. And then you're seeing, like I said, Boston. But now you're seeing the younger teams step up. The older teams fall off. I mean, that's not natural progression of things. Is Buffalo going to be good enough next year? Is Detroit going to be good enough next year? Are we going to take a step back as an older team? I mean, that's entirely possible.
I like the Senators. I think they'll be good next year, especially with Chychrun coming in. But what are they doing with DeBrincat? DeBrincat hasn't really done all that good for his I think he's asking for like $9 million.
Well, he's not going to get that there.
He shouldn't get that anywhere. He did really good in Detroit, but he's playing with Patrick Kane. Patrick Kane had like a crazy year last year too.
I mean, like I said, it's just interesting that you see which teams are falling off, which teams are getting better. I think the NHL loves it though. They don't like dynasties. I mean, how many kicks in the can does Boston realistically have this year and maybe next year?
1 or 2.
I mean, that's about it.
Well, I'd say
think-
I mean, like, how long is Bergeron? This is supposed to be Bergeron's last year. Same thing maybe with Krejci. Maybe they come back for another year if they come up just short.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, and a guy like Marchand isn't getting younger either.
He's still good. He's still really good. But I mean, Pasternak just signed their long term.
Yeah, they got Taylor Hall.
Their goaltending's in good shape. They've made moves to improve to get the defense younger the last couple of years. McAvoy's really young. Lindholm is good and young. Who's the guy? Orlov is what, 30 or 31? They'll have to sign him in the offseason. That was a great move by Boston. I mean, everything they've done this year has just been just picture perfect, honestly. They've done it right this year. I didn't think they were capable of it. I didn't think Sweeney was capable of pulling it off. I didn't think Montgomery's the right coach. I was 100% wrong. 100%.
What do you think of the Pasta contract?
He's another guy that when things are going well, man, he's really good. But when things are going bad, he's a turnover machine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if he gets a couple of goals in the first game of the playoff series, your team's done. Because he rides that all the way through. That's the thing on him. And the goaltending, I just think they're too good defensively this year. Orlov is a huge pickup for them.
Yeah, that was good. I didn't even really know Orlov was all that good. He was kind of like a sneaky little guy on the Caps. He was what, a third pairing on the Caps team or second pairing?
Second pairing when John
pairing guy.
Oh, with Carlson. That's probably why he got overshadowed.
Right.
Did you see Carlson's injury?
Yeah,
he's been played. I know he's back out there skating, but he hasn't played. Did they show like his ear and his head and stuff like that?
No, they just said that it was a fractured skull, a severed ear, like a broken orbital bone. It was a lot more than everybody first anticipated it was.
Yeah, so
he's been out since December. I had to figure it was really serious because I'm not like you lose some of your ear and you miss time, but okay.
Yeah.
But look at what Washington did at the deadline. I wish that would have been us. They get Sandin. You replace Orlov with Sandin. I mean, for a guy who's 24 years old, for a guy who's 30, 31, who you were not going to be able to re-sign. I love that. I mean, and then you're moving guys off the bottom of your roster and you're getting draft picks back. I just love what they did. But they didn't get rid of everybody. And they, like I said, they made an acquisition as well, getting Sandin. I just thought that was a great move. That's what you should do when you realize, guess what? We're not good enough to win a cup. Yeah. And I wish Lamoriello would have done that, but he didn't. And even last year he should have done that when it was so obvious we weren't making the playoffs. But he didn't do it then either. There's no way we should have kept our UFAs. Just no way. Unless he plans on re-signing everybody and we have no cap space because we got a whole bunch of 30-year-olds, 35.
I think they trade Bailey. Hot take.
To who? Who won?
I don't know.
What are we going to have to give up to get rid of Josh?
I don't think we have any more picks to give up, do we?
We've got a second. We have a second.
draft only, and I think his cap hits what, $3 million on the books. What is
5
it on the
million.
books?
Cap
It's
is
But
5.
he's
It's
paid,
five.
yeah, he's
Cap is
he's
3.
paid his 3, but what he gets, what the cap is 5.
It's 5. Okay.
That smelled like Arizona for the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But
We've got a 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th this year.
you cannot give up any draft picks out of this year's draft. Just can't do it. Can't do it.
Well, we shall see. Maybe we'll just take the approach that we don't need draft picks. We could just keep retooling on the fly like this, guys. We don't need draft picks. That never goes wrong. We don't need high talented draft picks. When you look at teams like San Jose, they didn't go to a time period with that 4 years in a row without a first round draft pick. That didn't happen.
Maybe some of these guys could get run over in the celebration of winning the cup and have to get put on long-term injury. I can think of a whole lot of players I'd back that bus over.
Oh, Grumpy, you're saying Josh Bailey, you're going to suit him up for the last game? If we've got, like, what are you talking about, a 3-0 lead in the Stanley Cup Finals, you put Bailey out there and run him over when they're celebrating on the ice?
No. When you have him like directing cars, to fill in the parking lot spaces, you go over here, have somebody pop him from behind, break a leg, you can never come back.
Josh Bailey going to be put on. He's going to be put
long-term
on
injury.
Parking duty.
He was injured. He ended up parking attendant. Anders Lee, get him out there too.
Oh no, good gracious! Yeah, but St. Dean's played well. I wish we took that approach. We obviously didn't, and as I can't remember what commenter it was who said it, but it's completely accurate. We may not have wanted to be on this train ride, but we're all locked in. There's nowhere else to go. So it's just kind of the way it is with Lamoriello in the direction of this team.
TJ, I'm going to make a suggestion. Maybe we'll do the ad read now.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I got to pull it up first, so I'm glad.
Okay, well, take your time. Don't worry. I got nothing else to do here. Usually an hour in, we do the ad read. I realize time is just.
God almighty, you're shitty at stalling. So give me a sec. I've got the ad read pulled
Okay,
up.
there you go. You just could have done with the ad read. That's fine.
Today's podcast is brought to you by DraftKings. The biggest tournament in college basketball is underway, and the action is just getting started at DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any pregame moneyline bet and score $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Plus, combine multiple bets for a shot at an even bigger payout. DraftKings will be featuring parlays and odd boosts all tournament long. So be sure to check out the DraftKings Sportsbook app every day to see what they have in store, Grumpy. So you could say, I'm expecting the Zags to win the national championship, Grumpy. Like as I said, don't be counting out Zaga.
Don't they play UCLA?
Sure. I don't know. They play a victim. Yeah.
Do we have that picture of the Timmy kid and you wearing the little headband? They were very similar.
Okay, no, we don't, but I'll put a headband on in a second, Grumpy. But download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN or THPN. Right now, new customers can bet $5 on any pregame moneyline bet and get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, again, with promo code THPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See the show notes and description for additional details.
Let me ask you a question. Can you get the money out of DraftKings if you win bets?
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, Grumpy. Of course you can. Yes. But I'll tell you, I think we're a hot team right now. I think we're a team that I hope we continue to stay hot. I just hope we didn't get hot at the wrong time and we start to cool off come playoff time. Right? That's a bad scenario, but
here's the way I look at it. And I thought yesterday was going to be one of those games. And maybe it was. Maybe it was. I'm interested to see how we look against the Devils and Carolina and Tampa. To me, those are benchmark games. If we come out and we blow doors on those teams, watch out. I might be reassessing everything I'm saying right now. But we haven't played, with the exception of Toronto, every team that's been in a playoff spot, we've lost to. Even
Do you think – go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, well, can you pull up a picture of the Timmy character?
yeah, give me a sec. Hold on. Let Ariel respond.
I do. I just want you to, while Ariel's talking, I want you to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Do you think the Devils or Tampa holds any of their star players out? Because that's like close to the end. The Devils is next week, so probably not. But Tampa, probably maybe the second game that we play them, they might hold out some.
It depends on how close they are to Toronto.
Okay.
But I'm interested to see, when the game still means something. I thought that regardless of what TJ said, I still felt that the Toronto game meant something to Toronto. Maybe it didn't. I mean, I thought they came out and they looked sloppy. They were dominant offensively. I mean, it felt like they were on a power play most of the game, particularly early on. But then, they got sloppy. Every turnover they made turned into a goal for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's being opportunistic. Is that going to happen in the playoffs? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're going to turn it up once playoff time starts. Absolutely. And you know what? It's much better playing at home than it is on the road. You go into Boston or Carolina. Carolina's really, really good at home.
Yeah.
You go into Carolina to come down 0-2. It's like, they start feeling it a little bit. Who knows what's going on? Who knows what's going to happen going forward?
Mm-hmm.
But
is that what you're looking for there, Grumpy?
Yeah. What's his name? What's his first name, this kid?
Timmy. Drew Timmy, I think.
Drew Timmy. I think he's he's on the 14-year plan at the Zags. But he looks a little bit like TJ with that mustache. Except we made TJ wear a headband, aka a tie, but then we're like, holy crap, this kid's got way more hair than TJ's got because he has massive skullage above and below the headband.
It's just a really skinny headband, Grumpy. It's like a skinny tie except headband.
He looks Peyton Manning look like he's got a hairline like a monkey. That's all I have to say, TJ. You got a lot of skullage there, boy.
There it is. I do what I can do.
Yes,
I do what I can do.
Drew Timmy, who's played very well for them this year.
Speaking of Pasta, that's a guy who I think is going to be one of those first ballot Hall of Famers if he stays healthy.
Stop. I hate when you do that.
You don't think so? You don't think Pasternak is first ballot Hall of Fame?
No. He's got to play a lot longer and put up a whole hell of a lot of numbers.
He's 26 years old. Do you want to take a guess how many points he has in his career?
How many? 26.
597 points at 26 years old.
Get back
how many games?
Yeah, how many games?
Played 580 games.
So point a game guy.
Point a game guy.
Get back to me when he's got 1,000 points.
Ding dong at 31 years old. If he stays healthy, that's a guy who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Okay, but if he loses Bergeron or Krejci, because I think he's playing with Krejci this year.
Krejci wasn't there last year.
Okay, but he's going to have to find another center to play with. Krejci and Bergeron are at the tail end, so they're going to have to find another center who can work with him. And he doesn't show up in big games. He does not show up in big games.
You remember that flub against us? Wide open net.
Yeah, I don't think he's super clutch. Like I said, if we play them in the first round and he gets 2 goals in the first game, watch out. I just think we're going to get rolled. But he's got to prove it to me. He's a guy never got Linus Ullmark is a guy who has to prove it to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not buying into this whole Boston thing, and we all know the President's Trophy curse. I don't know how true it is. I think the last team that won the cup, that won the President's Trophy, was the Blackhawks in 2013. I think I saw that stat. Don't quote me on it though. I'm not 100% sure. If anyone knows it, let me know.
Yeah, let us know in the comments there. I'm going to start running through some comments here, too. JP said, thanks for the content. Grumpy, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I just want to let everyone know we will not get to all the comments.
What? We can't go through 1,000+ comments, Grumpy? We're only an hour in. We can't stay a 5-hour-long podcast and stream? No.
I eventually have to go to the bathroom. So, walking off halfway through reading a comment, go to the bathroom. And then say, hey, Grumpy, pick it up and finish it off. I'll do that.
I do what I can do, Grumpy. But yes, we won't be able to get through all the comments. We do read them over afterwards, so trust me. They're not going unnoticed. JP says here, thanks for all the content. As always, Sorokin is awesome. Do not sleep on Edmonton, Grump.
No.
You don't think Edmonton has any chance?
No. Chance for what?
I think I have a chance to be I think they can win the West. I think the West is wide open.
They don't play any defense.
Nobody in the West plays defense. The West is miserable. It's the worst. It's the worst.
Dallas plays defense. Vegas plays defense.
The Avs are going to be a really pain in the ass to get out.
All of a sudden, the Avalanche is playing much better.
Are
they the same team as last year? No, but they know how to win.
But that's the thing too. Like I always thought, someone from the East is winning the cup this year, which should be, but whoever comes out of the West is
Rest-
literally going to waltz right into the Stanley Cup. I mean, there might be some sweeps. There could be 2 sweeps. The Avs could sweep first round, second round, like they did last year, right? They swept the first 2.
Yeah, the Avalanche swept the first 2. They lost 1 game to Edmonton, and they kept on their path until the final.
Yeah.
I thought they lost the game to St. Louis as well.
No.
Yes, they did. They did.
Didn't they?
Yeah, I think they lost the game, at least
Yeah.
1 game to St. Louis. I want to say 2 games to St. Louis.
No. Oh.
I got to pull that up.
Now you got me confused.
That's my job. I'm here to confuse.
Yeah, pull it up because now I'm curious.
Yeah, go ahead, pull it up. Pull up last year's playoffs.
But whoever comes out of the East is going to be bruised and battered. I mean, even Boston, they're going a 7-game series with someone,
I
maybe 2
screwed up.
people.
No losses to Edmonton. They had 2 losses to St. Louis and 2 losses to Tampa.
There you go.
Okay.
Don't ever question the master again, Ariel.
Oh, grumpy.
I don't need some fancy computer. I use this one up here. It's always boop, 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 boop. It's working all the time.
You're kind of on like a dial-up, right, Grumpy? And you're on an old modem where it takes quite some time to boot everything up.
I guess maybe. But I'm like,
JP said, boy, the Leafs are having bigger problems than I had thought. Full marks for the cul-de-sac crew. The cul-de-sac crewins. Bailey.
Sans, that means without Bailey.
Sans means without?
Yeah.
What the hell is that? Is that another language? What is this? Sans?
Don't worry
Without
about
Josh
it.
Bailey.
You know, here's the thing. I realize it's a big word and it's a struggle for you.
Hold on, sans is not a big word. I've never heard that word ever used in this.
Without, yes, it's been used many times before.
Without Josh Bailey, they are as motivated as we've seen them in a long time.
I 100% agree with that whole statement.
We've also got here Nick D.
I want to say Zach Parise has really impressed me recently.
Almost 20 goals for a 38-year-old.
Good for him. I mean,
Yeah,
he plays in every single situation. He should get some goals.
Yeah.
He's the king of the empty netters this year, even more than our pal Brock Nelson.
Oh, come on, Grumpy. Here you go, Nick D.
TJ, Grumpy, how are you guys doing tonight? What a game last night. It's always great when the Islanders beat the Leafs, especially when the Leafs have been playing shitty lately. I don't think they had. JT was -3. I don't think Toronto's been playing poor lately, have they? I thought they've been actually playing pretty good.
I don't watch enough Toronto games, to be honest.
Well, they're 5-4-1 the last 10. Okay, maybe they are playing like crap. Well, then we got them at a good time. What can I tell you?
Yes, doing well. John Tavares, obviously minus quite a few. And Anthony Rizzi said, any update on Brock Nelson? No.
He's still
Not seeing any updates.
He's still soft as shit.
Lee at the end, post game, said he'll be fine. So, I mean, take that for what you will. But
he's a doctor now, is he?
Yeah,
he'll be an
maybe
average.
he's just a little
He is.
concussed. Maybe he just got his bell rung, Grump.
couple games. They
got
haven't
body
called
check.
anybody up.
Yeah, he got body checked. He got body checked and he crumpled like a house of cards.
That's because Bailey's coming in for Nelson.
Brock is a concussion. Okay, I'm seeing that now. Tommy B and Frank K said Brock has concussion. Okay, gotcha. That's good. I'd figured that was the case with the upper body tag, but good to see. Joseph C says here, the Leafs have a culture problem. Their stars just don't show up on given nights. It seems like they play down to their competition.
I thought they took us easy yesterday. Everything they did was so easy, honestly, early in the game. And Sorokin, made how many saves, and then the paddle save, and that was like it. And all of a sudden they oh, maybe it's not our night. I don't see a whole lot of fight in them. I don't. I really thought that this was going to be their year. They were my dark horse team for the Cup going into the season. But the more I watch them, I just don't see how they beat Tampa. Are you going to take Samsonov over Vasilevsky in a 7-game series?
No.
I'm not. And Tampa Bay, man, they could beat you 1-0 and then get beat 8-1. They're crazy too. They struggle with Montreal all year. You notice Tampa, every game against Montreal is really, really close. I'm like, why? Makes no sense to me. Montreal.
I think that Tampa is towards the tail end.
They are.
They don't scare me.
Well, we'll see how they scare you in a couple of weeks when they play 2 games.
Hedman's kind of falling off, huh?
Edmonton?
Hedman.
Oh, Hedman. I think he's banged up. He don't seem like he's
Maybe.
Oh,
Sergachev looks like he might be stepping into those shoes, though.
He's a good skater. I think
He is
Hedman
good.
looks slow. I think Hedman looks slow.
Yeah, well, he's old. Isn't he like 33, 32?
He's the same
He's
age as
32.
Tavares. How old Tavares is? That's how
32.
old. 32. Okay.
That's a guy who will be another first ballot Hall of Fame guy.
Oh my God.
He's going to be first ballot, Grump. Please
Everyone, I hate to tell you, how many guys they elect to the Hall of Fame every year? Like 4?
Everybody I name is a future
Everyone's
Hall of
first
Famer.
ballot. Everyone's a
100%
first
accuracy. 100% accuracy.
First ballot.
Anthony Rizzi said, I thought that Samuel Bolduc and Dobson played well together. I think Bolduc is a keeper. I like his size. He plays under control and has a nice shot.
I'm glad you brought that up. How good did Noah Dobson look yesterday?
Oh, man, he just looked average. He looked bad defensively.
This is what happens when you team him with someone who actually, and Bolduc played a solid defensive game. That's what he did. He didn't try to do too much. Take the defensive responsibilities. It's amazing how much better Dobson looks.
Dobson's soft, though. Very soft. In the
For his
corners,
size.
he doesn't even look to hit anybody. He loses the puck in the corners all the time. Yeah, but when you're that big and you're a defenseman and you're going to be going around and coming, joining the rush, you got to have some physicality to you. He gets pushed off the puck so easily. And he's out of position a lot.
Well, I was not. Well, he has been previously because the guy on the other side is never in position, which has been that's been the problem all year. Romanov and then Aho, the two.
Romanov has looked fantastic since leaving Dobson.
Well,
he has looked fantastic.
I
He
would-
really has. What has he done wrong? He's had a couple of points. He's been physical. He's been in position. Look at his expected goals for stats and his expected goals against stat while he's on the ice.
No.
What?
No, I don't want to hear any of those silly stuff.
So after
Why?
we changed systems and started playing the more defensive style, he's played better defensively. Everybody has.
That's right.
Oh, my
Everybody
God,
Dobson.
it's like, wow,
Not Dobson.
Romanov looks great. When you look like a pile of shit compared to looking like a decent defender, you're going to notice it's like a
How
night
can
and day
you say
difference.
Romanov looks like shit, but Dobson looks good defensively?
Romanov, okay.
Because we
Dobson-
like Dobson.
I'm-
Because we like
Yeah.
Dobson.
I like
That's it.
Dobson's offense. His offensive output far exceeds any defensive woes and shortcomings he has. And
He's brutal defensively, though.
No, see, to me, a lot of people say that, but you know what?
look at the partners he's been paired with throughout time. And this is what I've never understood about this topic of conversation. Romanov, right? They tried to give it to him. Captain, I don't know where I'm supposed to be when we play the current NHL style. And this is what worries me about Romanov. Cannot play the current NHL style. Does much better with the antiquated, hey, slow, dump and chase, go ahead and muddle everything up trot style. That's
He's a
not the way it
stay-at-home
works.
defenseman, though. That's like Lindgren for Fox. That's
He doesn't
Pellick
play
for
stay at home.
Pulak.
He doesn't play stay at home.
He doesn't go far from where he needs to be, though.
Here's the problem with Romanov. He'd rather skate out of his way to make a big hit on somebody instead of maintaining position to make that big bone rattling hit, which takes him out of position and he gets exposed, or he's diving down a block shot, which he's good at, but good teams, okay, we're going to move right around you with exposes Dobson on the other end. It helps that he's with Pulak. If you put Dobson with Pellick, it's a totally different story.
Sure.
But see, that's what you should do.
Yeah,
You put-
Aho and Dobson pairing is terrible. I can't believe that they rolled that out there.
for that long. And you finally found somebody. Here's the thing. I like Aho.
Me too.
But really, he's a seventh defenseman. He's a fill-in guy.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's just too small. He's like Thomas Hickey. That's how Hickey used to be. We're just not big enough, and you don't like Dobson's physicality. I love the board work that Dobson does, just with the way he handles the stick along the boards. And those are the type of things that people just ignore. It's so subtle, his movements along the boards. Yes, he's not a guy who's going to run anybody. He's not. That's not his game.
No, but it's not even looking to run him. I mean, it's just like coming out of the corner. Like, you're there first. Come out of the corner with the puck, dude. It's not that difficult. And some of his passes that he does when he's trying to clear the puck or make it ice the puck or whatever. I mean, it's just bad. The way that he does it is just bad.
But
He has a lot of turnovers too.
Since they've gone back to this more defensive system, you've seen a lot less of that from him.
Here's
Yeah.
Now the forwards are coming back. Where before, I guarantee they said, hey, we need you to start making stretch passes because he's really good at those stretch passes.
Yeah.
When you're passing to guys who are, 35 years old, they don't get to the spot or whatever. I don't know. I like Noah Dobson.
I like Dobson too. I just think he needs. I would never. People are screaming to trade him and stuff, but I would never trade him. He's young. He's 22, I think now. I mean, don't give up on him yet. But I mean, unless you were getting like a Chitrin for Dobson, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Still absolutely not. Okay,
you're crazy.
Let's go over who the defensive pairings for this Noah Dobson are. 38-year-old. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's take the clock back even further. Johnny Boychuk.
Good move.
36-year-old Johnny Boychuk. 38-year-old Andy Green.
Finished.
44-year-old Zdeno Chara. 3 years. 36. Ancient playing the offside because I'm getting James straddled with Boychuk. 38-year-old Andy Green, who was freaking cashed and finished. 44-year-old Chara. And then Romanov and Aho this year. He's had freaking miserable combinations across the way, shitty defensive pairings, and every single year it's somebody new. How do you expect a guy like this, who's going to be that you want to be a key feature of the team, to have any sort of continuity with anybody when you change him up with some new I won't call him some new finished veteran every single year, or a guy who does the same exact systematically like Aho as he is?
I just want to say, that's like 118, which is like 17, like in dog years. A dog is 17, that's like 119 or
like
whatever.
150 dogs.
So, I mean, they're pretty old. I mean, there were some pretty old guys you described. And here's the thing: Dobson, positionally, totally unsound. Better now since they've gone back to the old system. But like I said, maybe coach said, you know what, we need less of the highlight hits.
No, Romanov. You said Dobson. You said Dobson. You meant Romanov.
Oh, I'm sorry, Romanov. I'm sorry. Maybe we need a little bit less of the highlight reel hits and maybe just play a little bit more solid defense.
But even Dobson in front of the net, when he's trying to block people out, he's just not strong enough. He's not strong enough to block people out. They sit there and they get the positioning in on him, and then he ends up screening the goalie. When you have Romanov there, he hits them out of the way. A Mayfield, even a Pellick, they're knocking them out of the way. Dobson just sits there.
Bingo. Let's see. That's what the role of the other defenseman on his pairing should be, because you don't see Pulock doing that.
No,
and you don't see Aho. Well, Aho wouldn't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
5'8" when you're 5'8" or 5'9", like a $1.9.
And Romanov wasn't doing it. It was Dobson down there low. That's not his strength. That's what I'm saying. See, that's the thing that drives me crazy is you look at the strength of a player instead of playing to a player's strengths. It almost seems like we play to their weaknesses sometimes. Dobson is not a body mover out in front of the net. That is not his skill set. Never was, never will be. But you know what? You have to pair him up with somebody whose job that is.
But even on the power play, when he fumbles the puck at the blue line, which he's been doing quite often recently, might I add, he looks like terrible. There's a comment I just saw. I don't know who said it. It says that it looks like his controller batteries died when he gets back on defense. And it's true. I mean, he doesn't know. He reminds me, you're going to hate me for this comment, he reminds me a lot of a Tony DeAngelo. Very well off offensively, not very good defensively.
I see.
I don't see any sorts of greatness defensively wise. I'm not saying he won't get there, but as of right now, he does not wow me defensively. He makes me quite nervous when he's on the ice in the defensive zone.
If you paired him with Pellick, you wouldn't even notice. Wouldn't even notice, because he'd be playing with someone whose skill set is the opposite of what he does. I mean, that's why playing Pellick and Pulock together, what's the sense?
But that's the same thing with Tony DeAngelo, too. Sometimes you're not going to have that stay-at-home defenseman that you could be paired with. You have to kind of be able to be responsible in your own end for yourself, for the player that you have to cover. I mean,
but you can't cover for the other guy. You can't cover for the other guy.
When your other defensive partner is all the way on the other side freaking hugging the boards because he's trying to lay a hit, and you're saying, oh, shit, now we got a 2-on-1 coming. How are you being as a responsible defensive pairing or defensive partner when you're just freaking in no man's land, leaving your other pairing high to dry?
I can't tell you how many times this year Dobson's the only guy back because, Romanov pinched up, missed his guy, and it's a 2-on-1 coming back down. Dobson's always back there. Is he the best? Is he the greatest defensive defenseman? Is he Doug Harvey? No, he's not. Is he Scott Stevens? No, he's not. Is he Chris Chelios? No, he's not. But you know what? He's better than Romanov. Romanov, to me, he's better now. He's better now than he's been. If he was like that earlier in the year, you wouldn't even be saying this about Dobson. He's forgotten what his role is. His role in the Islanders show is to play the defensive role. Let Dobson be the showman. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't blame Dobson when there's a 2-on-1. There's nothing that you could do about that. But it's just, I think that he has a lot of turnovers at timely times where I'm like, oh God, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Why are you passing it middle ice? Why are you doing that? Just throw it around the boards.
Well, see, but he's trying to make plays, and I guarantee that's what they told him.
Yeah, but you have to be more situation. You have to be more aware then. Then that's a situational issue. If you are trying to make a play, but.
The Islanders have conceded the third least amount of goals in the NHL, and we're calling the guy on that defensive group the guy who's just defensively inept.
I thought they were.
Yeah, I don't think he's good defensively.
I thought they were eighth.
No, third least amount of goals conceded per game. The New York.
But we also know we also have went over that that's not solely because of the defense. That's mostly because of the goaltending.
Yep. Yeah, the goaltending is fantastic. But if he's playing, good teams have great goalies, and defensemen who provide offense are always going to have more of the offensive mindset. John Carlson got caught and gets caught out of position at times. Erik Karlsson plays zero defense. Guys, he is going to be making $10 million a year.
No, he's not going to be making $10 million a year. Stop
if
that.
Anybody gives him $10 million a year, that is terrible.
It should be us.
He's not.
TJ, come on. You're mad about Engvall getting $3 million and you want Dobson to get 10?
I'm not mad about Engvall getting anything. I'm mad that we gave up draft picks to get a guy who's a free agent in the summer.
Yeah, but you said you wouldn't even want to pay him either. You don't want to pay him.
It's a philosophy that makes me upset. But it's like, okay, if Bo Horvat can put up as a forward 9 points in a 20-game stretch and Noah Dobson's doing much better than that, maybe he's the $15 million man. I'm telling
he's
you,
not touching $10 million.
He's going to make $10 million a year.
He's not making $10 million. He's not.
No, he's not making Adam Fox is worlds better than Dobson, defensively and offensively.
See, I don't think he's that great defensively either.
Oh, I do. I mean, he breaks up very good plays, and he's just smart with the puck. He's not fast and as good of a skater as Dobson is, but he's positionally always sound. His stick is always in the right position. His movement is pretty good. His IQ is through the roof.
Let me tell you something.
So the things that you get better at with time, like positioning,
sure,
your stick awareness, are the things that Fox has that Dobson's going to get better at. But like the intangible or the skills that you can improve, skating, natural ability that Fox doesn't have. I'm taking Dobson.
Oh, that's such a hot take. Are you nuts?
Dobson. I'm happy
over Fox.
I'm happy to have Dobson on this team every day of the week.
I'm just going to say, Ariel, see, TJ, you want to ruin my joke. I was going to say, Ariel, you've been hanging out with that boyfriend of yours a little bit too much if you're speaking this high.
How fiance? He's a fiance.
Hey, I don't know. Hey, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know when you're getting married, but it better be soon because he's a Rangers fan and those guys are an egg. So you just better make sure you get.
Yeah, look at this. This is we're redoing his basement, and this is what he sends me before on what him and his dad did. It's brutal.
Oh
God, that's right.
The floors aren't even in yet, and they put this good old thing on the floor.
What?
Can you see it?
It's Rangers, New York Rangers on the floor.
So my floor is gonna go over that.
Well, one thing that you need to, I mean, you could always put a rug over it or something like that.
Oh, no, the wood floor is going to go over it, but it's always going to be there.
That's typical Ranger fan. Why do they do stuff?
I know. Terrible.
Grumpy, let me ask you that. Do you have your microphone connected? I thought you sounded kind of, scratch it for me. Okay, yeah, just move it a little closer to your face. I thought it was hard to hear Grumpy as well a little bit. I texted him earlier and said, move that closer to your face. But yeah, I'd rather have Noah Dobson with the team. If he is the quintessential current NHL defenseman, like you're talking about, he doesn't knock people out in front of the net. Most current NHL defensemen don't do that. A lot of teams in the NHL don't load 3 guys in front of the net, and hopefully a broken play leads to a loose puck that they can knock into the net. That's why the Islanders score goals, is because teams do that.
Bingo. And that's exactly right.
The dying thing. It's like you're seeing the last wing T running offense in the NFL. You don't run into it that often, so occasionally, like Georgia Tech when they won the national championship. Nobody ran the wing tee, but eventually it has to be adapted to the current NHL style. And Dobson's a current NHL defenseman. A lot of NHL defensemen don't. How often is Cale Makar out there in front of the net? I'm knocking everybody out and clearing this over from a goalie to have a clear.
Never.
Yeah, NHL defensemen don't do that. Most NHL defensemen don't do that. The skilled ones, at least.
Yeah, it's a dying breed. It is. Everyone's into the transition game, and that's just the way it is. And Dobson is a modern NHL player. Now, if you can ask me if I would take Dobson at $4 million or Fox at $9 million, is he making $9 million?
I think 9.5.
9.5. I'd take Dobson at $4 million over him at 9.5 because he's not twice the player that Dobson is. I think he's better than Dobson, but I don't think he's twice the player plus than Dobson is. I still
like Dobson's ceiling.
But see, TJ's gonna Dobson's apparently getting 10 mil.
He's not getting 10 million. I've had this discussion.
I take Fox at 9.5 over Dobson at 10 any day. I'd rip my hair out if they gave Dobson 10 million, unless he becomes like a not shut down, but much better defensively and puts up 60, at least 60.
Well,
he shouldn't be sniffing 10. 7 is the max I'd give him, and I wouldn't even give him that.
7 is the max you'd give a defenseman who year in, year out's putting up 50 points.
Yep, with his defensive abilities right now.
On this team, 50 points from a defenseman is a lot.
I know.
It's shit ton.
I know.
It's a lot. Because we don't score.
If he played with Edmonton, he'd be putting up 100 points a season.
Listen to me. Here's the thing. If you put him on the power play with Barzal and Horvat, he's going to have minimum 25 points on a power play next year.
Sure.
Minimum. Because he has guys up front. I mean, there's no one for him to move the puck to. I can't tell you how many times he gives it to guys right for shooting spots and they don't take the shot and that pass comes back to him. It's not perfect. It's kind of in his skates a little bit. Does he turn the puck over? Yep, he absolutely does. And I think here's why he gets slammed a little bit. He looks like he's not trying because of the length of his skating stride. It looks like he's kind of floating a little bit. But he only takes 3 strides and he's almost at center ice. I mean, he's a tremendous skater. I think forget that. And some guys, when guys look like that, it's like, man, because he glides. It's like a lot of times he's gliding, and it's like he doesn't look like he's trying. It's not like Zach Parise, 400. But if you put them in a race from beginning to the end, Dobson's going to blow him away. He's just a better skater.
Yeah, I just don't like his positioning. I don't think he's that good defensively. You guys say it's because of his partners. I think it's because of him. I think he needs more. I think he needs more time, more development in the defensive zone, like defensively. Offensively, he's lights out. That's why I would never want to take him out of the lineup. I think he's great. He's a great quarterback on the power play. Usually, he's been kind of off lately, though.
They have nobody else.
He loses the puck quite often on the blue line.
But you see the passes that come back to him? They're bad passes. The passes are not good. They're slow. They're in his skates. It's like, it's just, a good power play, man, bat. We don't have that. We had it for a couple of weeks. We had it for 2-3 weeks. But we don't have it again until Barzal comes back. Just shows how much we miss him. For all the people who say Barzal sucks, we don't want Barzal. This, that, and the other thing, look at our power play.
The record without Barzal. Oh.
Well, the whole thing is, TJ and I went at this for years. It's like, he's like, well, it's a coach. I'm like, no, it's the talent.
Mm-hmm.
We don't think talent.
Coach is important.
All of a sudden, Horvat comes. He's a pure sniper on a power play. So Barzal, those little passes, he opens it up, bang, he's able to get those shots off. Anders Lee doesn't do that. Brock Nelson doesn't do that.
I would like to, when Barzal comes back, change up the power play a little bit, because I think Bo Horvat's actually not bad in Barzal's spot, because Horvat's kind of taken over in Barzal's spot on the power play, and you put Barzal backdoor. Because Barzal can pass too from there.
I want Barzal with the puck on his stick.
Sometimes he holds it too long though on the power play. Here's
the thing: if the guys move their feet, they'll get the pass. When we get in trouble, we just stand still. That's why I hate Anders Lee on the power play and Brock Nelson. They don't move.
I think you should take Lee. Might be a hot take. Take Lee off the power play off the top one and put Palmieri up there.
I don't want him anywhere near the Islanders.
I'm just saying, when you have Horvat, who is known for the tip-ins, you don't need another one. Sometimes it's actually detrimental to Horvat's game, having two of them like that.
Yeah,
because Horvat will tip it and then it hits Lee in the ass and then it bounces somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Palmieri at least is a threat shooting wise. It's another person that Barzell could pass to.
I'd rather have Pajot on the other side.
Pajot does
I like
nothing
him.
for me. I love Pajot. I love Pajot. He's my second favorite on the team, but on the power play,
And I hate Palmieri. So
yeah, why?
He's an F-. That's why.
Come on.
Update on the score: the Pittsburgh Penguins are beating the Colorado Avalanche 3-1. Haven't they been in that position before? Going into the third period, how many goals will Tristan Jarry concede?
You know what? I still feel Colorado's going to win that game.
But probably 5-3.
Pittsburgh somehow loses to Ottawa, and they dominated Ottawa. I think the shots on goal were like 52-16, and Tristan Jarry does Jarry things, but it's like, you can't lose a game like that. Florida, you cannot. I realize they played a back-to-back where they came back against whoever they beat on Monday night, but you cannot.
They beat the Red Wings.
The Red Wings. You cannot lose to the Flyers. You just, not in the playoff hunt. You cannot lose to a team like that. And all those teams do it. That's why I said a month or so ago, you know what? Whoever gets hot is going to make the playoffs. The Islanders are the only team out of that whole group of suck who's gotten hot. The only team. Penguins, they look like they were a lock. They just fallen off the planet. Washington, you still think Washington's got a shot of making the playoffs, TJ?
Yes, yeah. Washington, baby. They're still going to make the playoffs.
Right. Tell your story walking, because I told you they mailed it in. When the GM says we're playing for next year, that's it. The team is checked out. Buffalo, done. Detroit, done and dusted. Ottawa, see you later. No, it's down to 3 teams. 3 teams. Actually, it's down to 2 teams. Pittsburgh's not making the playoffs.
Okay, they're 2.
You heard it here first.
If they win tonight, if they close out, they'll be 2 points behind us for the game.
I don't care. I don't care.
So what if Pittsburgh and the Caps don't make it? I think that would be, they've made the postseason 13 seasons in a row.
I
kind of reminds me of that Detroit.
That's crazy.
Those Detroit dynasties that used to make it year in and year out.
I hated that they would make the playoffs. Like last year, it irked my soul that Pittsburgh and the Penguins made it because I knew they weren't going far. I mean, Pittsburgh and the Capitals made it. I knew it's like a first round exit guaranteed the last couple of years.
Okay. Now, Ariel, you said Pittsburgh, you were irked because those 2 crappy teams made the playoffs, even though they had over 100 points each.
Yes.
They weren't going anywhere. But you feel the Islanders can make a playoff run. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I think that we're better playoff material than those teams are.
I'll buy that answer. I'll buy that. But we're not going to have 100 points.
Who's the coach for the Capitals? What's his name again?
Laviolette.
Peter Laviolette. He used to coach us.
Yeah, not that good.
He used to coach he used to coach all over the place.
Did he win a Stanley Cup?
I think he did with the Flyers.
No.
Who the hell did he win a cup with?
With Carolina.
Yes, that's right. Carolina. That one year they won the cup.
Against Edmonton. Beat Edmonton. And Chris Pronger.
That's right. Chris freaking Pronger. That's right. Oh, man. That's a throwback now. But yes, Pittsburgh is winning today. You know, we'll talk a little bit about the games upcoming. You know, next game the Islanders have up against the mighty Columbus Blue Jackets on Friday. How could they stack? How do they stack up against the worst team in the NHL? That's the real question we have.
Who's Columbus beaten recently? They've beaten some of these playoff teams as well recently. Buffalo, I think, when Buffalo was still a contender for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
I mean, they
just beat the Capitals.
The Capitals
7-6. They lost to the Golden Knights 7-2. They lost to the Anaheim Ducks 7-4. They lost to the Kings. They beat the Sharks. Oh man, that was. Now watch out for that. I mean, that's Connor Bedard territory right there. You better not start winning against the shitty teams. Go ahead.
I'm going to go off topic, so finish your point if you have to.
I didn't have anything else.
What did Pittsburgh give up for Granlund or Grunland?
Too much.
TJ liked it. He thought it was a great trade.
I like Mikhail Grunland. I think he's still got stuff.
He's 32, isn't he?
The takes are getting worse by the second.
You don't like Mikhail Grunland? He's 31, Grump. Just turned 30.
It's not going to change Pittsburgh's
Doesn't matter.
trajectory at all.
It doesn't matter.
I like him as a player.
I think
It was a
Engvall helps
third-round
us
pick.
more than Granlund helps Pittsburgh.
Just like Engvall doesn't matter that we acquired him. Them getting Granlund doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Not difference makers.
Second
Not
round
at all.
pick. Second round.
Engvall's more of a difference maker than Granlund is.
And
A second round
Engvall-
pick for Granlund.
I mean, I understand
I
why
would
they're
be fine
doing
with
it.
that.
I don't believe in it. but
TJ,
I
they're the
understand.
oldest team in the league in NHL history. They're icing the oldest team in league history.
They beat the Islanders of last year.
Yes, they have. And they just traded a second round pick this year, was it, too? In 2023?
I thought that. Here's the thing.
For Granlund, and they're going to miss the playoffs.
I like the value of that trade. Maybe they don't.
But if they do, who are they beating in the first round?
They're not beating anybody. I like the value of that trade, right? But it's just like saying, "Hey, I like the value, but it's not the right pick for what their needs are." The needs of that team are similar to the needs of our team and are similar to the needs of the Capitals. We're all teams that need to restructure and retool. I think that they got more value, right? I think Granlund is more valuable than a second round pick, but I also think that it's not the right fit for them.
Oh, come on. That is terrible. You're just trying to save face. You're lying to yourself.
It's like saying, "Hey, I want some." I'm lying to myself. You don't like Mikhail Granlund?
I do, but he's not worth more than a second round pick. 1, 2, the second round pick is definitely more important for Pittsburgh that has to retool or at least rebuild than our third round next year for Engvall, who's younger, faster, has higher ceiling.
But he's not as good. He's not as good as
he has a higher ceiling.
Yeah, I don't
know. I think all of the teams, Pittsburgh, the Islanders, and the Capitals, are all in the same spot. They're all teams that have no chance of winning the Stanley Cup. They're all teams that needed to start restructuring and starting to retool. One of those teams made the right decision with Washington. The Islanders in Pittsburgh said, "Let's double down." And I said, terrible decisions. I like a trade. I like the value that you got in Granlund. Granlund's going to be there for more. I assume they're not just going to let him walk. He's going to be there for a while. I don't think his contract is on. How much does he? Is he on an expiring deal?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. He's not.
He's on a contract for the next 2 years, making $5 million. Okay. He's making Josh Bailey money, and I like what he does on the ice. And again, like they think that they're over there going to be still playing, competing for a cup. I think they're delusional with that.
Yeah. See, that's my issue with the whole thing.
If they had a goalie, I think they would be in a spot.
If they had a goalie, they're better than us.
Yes.
Period. They're better than us. They don't have a goalie. It still astounds me that they did not go out and get a goalie. For how many years you're going to run these same ham and eggers out there? They stink.
Did they trade Fleury or did he walk?
They exposed him.
Oh,
to
right.
Vegas, but they wanted him to go to Vegas. I mean, they hated him in Pittsburgh for some reason. I'm like, all he did was win you cups.
It's like the same thing with the Vancouver fans hating Luongo.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit different, but it was all of a sudden Murray came up when Fleury was there, and I often tell the story how they like the backup goalie is the most popular guy in town, just like the backup quarterback's the most popular guy in town. It's like until you get to see them and you see all their warts get exposed, Murray was the answer after Fleury. That's why they let Fleury go. Well, we had Murray. And then Murray played a year or two, and all of a sudden, Jari looked good. Oh, well, Jari's the answer, so we're going to let Murray go.
Jari's.
He's the worst. He's horrible.
He's so bad.
He's horrible.
But they don't give DeSmith a chance. I feel like DeSmith could be better than Jari, but they just don't give him a fair shake.
Jari sucks.
He's terrible.
He's like the Simon Holmstrom of goaltenders.
He's bad. There's no doubt about it. He is bad.
Like I said, 3-1. They almost have to have a 9 or 10 goalie go in the third period with this guy in net.
I feel they probably close that one out tonight.
I don't.
It's a home game. You can't lose a home game up 3-1.
Really? Okay. If you lost the home game the other night to Ottawa.
If you lose tonight in your Pittsburgh, the eulogy for Pittsburgh is being read, and I think that the Florida Panthers beat them out for the last playoff spot.
Okay.
Again, I'm at a spot where, again, I said about 2 weeks ago, you made me take money to Vegas and I had to pick Islanders making or not making, I was leaning towards making. Now it's okay. I feel very confident with the bet that the Islanders are making the postseason. even let's say Pittsburgh wins tonight and they get that extra win with a game in hand and they jump us, but just based off of wins during regulation, I still feel confident that the Islanders are making the postseason this year.
Yeah.
We would have to collapse down the stretch, with which the way we've been playing, there's nothing that would indicate that our effort level won't be there. When the effort level's there, I think that we're a team that can compete in the regular season with any other team in the NHL.
Wait, so we have Columbus Friday? And then don't we have them again? Or is it for Columbus? I know we played them
No, that's it for Columbus. Let me pull it.
Columbus, Buffalo.
I thought that was a game we could possibly lose. Not anymore.
No.
Buffalo's mailing it in.
I do think we're going to lose one game that we definitely shouldn't.
We're going to lose both to Washington.
Oh.
We're going to.
No, I think we split
this year.
I think we oh, it's going to be a hot take. You're going to love this one. I think we beat Tampa twice.
Oh.
we've got Columbus here on Friday. We've got the Sabres on Saturday. The Sabres are also playing a back-to-back. Their game starts at 7 Eastern Standard Time, and then they play us at 5. But we both have. I think this is an away game for us, but we play the home game. I got to remember here. Yeah. We play away. They play home the first night, and then they play us. They travel to come see us. Realistically, by Saturday's podcast time, the Islanders should be coming away with 4 points here. The worst team in the NHL and the Sabres, who are kind of mailing it in. Anything but 4 points is disappointing.
Kind of mailing it in?
The Sabres are kind of mailing it in.
They played the last few games without a goaltender.
Who they been putting in the net?
I don't know. The way they're giving up goals like that, I don't think anybody.
They're on
I'm curious
4 games in a row
to see how we play against the Devils. I'm curious to see how the Devil, because we're going to probably be playing playoff hockey, style hockey. Physical, clog up the neutral zone, be a little gritty,
and
get the ugly goals.
The Devils are still in contention to win the Metro.
Yeah, so they're going to be trying hard. That's a good test for the Devils, actually.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Does their goalie, does Vanacek or Schmidt stand up in goal? Like I said, to me, that's the difference.
So inconsistent. It's like one game I watched them and I'm like, oh, wow, VTech looks pretty good. And then the next I'm like, nothing special.
That's the difference between us and everybody else.
Yeah.
Except for Tampa.
Yeah.
I mean, and Boston as well. Boston's goaltender has been tremendous all year. Just tremendous.
Yeah.
So
I like their goaltending situation, Boston. I'd rather be Boston's future goaltending situation than the Islanders.
Well, I think they have Ullmark for 3 more years after this?
3 more years and Jeremy Swayman. I'm just like, could you imagine? Because here's the thing. You don't need both of them. You can trade the one you find least valuable, the one you don't think is the guy going forward. And imagine the return you would get from trading a young Jeremy Swayman.
Why would you trade Swayman over Ullmark?
Swayman, whatever it is, whoever it is you determine to trade. You're not going to trade the guy who just won the Vezina, right?
I would. If I thought the younger player under team control for longer.
They're both young goalies. They're both young. Ullmark's like 27, 28?
Well, how old is
like 24, 25? They're both young.
I don't know. I don't know how old Ullmark is.
I might be speaking on my ass. Give me a second.
He signed a free agent deal.
I'm pulling it up now.
He signed a free agent deal after last year, so he's got to be 28.
Ullmark is 29.
Okay, 29.
29 and Swayman's 24.
Okay. Well, like I said, if you think that the younger guy is just as good, I move the guy who's 29. Even if he comes off a Vezina Trophy season. Here's the thing. They're not trading him next year because they're both under team control. That's not happening. And it's
Could you imagine the return you would get for trading a guy like that?
Well, you move.
Think about it. You're going to be with that. You talk about the transition for Boston. You're going to probably lose Bergeron and Krejci. You can get yourself legitimate pieces back in return like that by trading a guy like Ullmark away if they determine to do so.
Yeah, and he only makes $5 million a year.
Yep. I think Sorokin's better than both goalies, but just having such a strong – we talk about a great 1A, 1B. That's the best 1A, 1B we see in hockey now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, how many goals they given up the whole year, Boston? I mean, they've only given up 151 goals this year. That's by far the best in the league.
Hey.
I mean, Carolina's second at 179 goals. I mean, the Islanders have 198. But I mean, 179. That's why those teams are the best teams in the league, because they're so good defensively.
They're second in goals scored per game and first in goals against per game. Boston.
They've been, I don't see anybody beating Boston this year. Ariel.
We'll see.
We've got the Devils, then we've got the Capitals.
You also said we weren't making the playoffs this year.
Wow. Okay. See, I'm waiting.
That's true.
I'm waiting to hear a few of
Hold
those.
on.
I did the same.
Hold on. Now, earlier in the year, did you think the Islanders were a lock to make the playoffs the whole year?
I did think they were a bubble team. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
January, the wheels fell off here.
So, in other words, just like I said. So here you're trying to bury me with the same feelings that you had. That's kind of unfair, Ariel.
Yeah.
I said they'd be contending for the final playoff spot all year. That's what was my preseason prediction. Then I said, nope, they're not making the playoffs. And it was basically not until they changed back to the trot system, because if we continue to play the other system, we would not have made the playoffs. We played buttoned up defensively, but more aggressive on the forecheck. And I think as a team, we are playing that trot system very well, like we did the previous 2 years. Mm-hmm. And all the other teams just falling off the planet. If those teams had just maintained their play, we wouldn't have made the playoffs. And we have Sorokin.
Honestly, I think that if we would have did this system in the beginning of January, we could have gave the Rangers a run for their money for the third spot.
How long can our age of our forwards play that, like a heavy back check, 110%? That's what I worry about. I'm like, we're doing it. I really am hoping it's not going to be like we start to see guys fading a bit, where it's like towards playoff time, we start to see him fade. I always think that Parise's played well. How much realistically does 38-year-old Parise have?
He's gotten his second wind. The last couple of weeks, because he looked finished a little while ago, just finished. But and I think it correlates with the defensive system that they're playing. And I think that, he just has a defined role now. So, I mean, he's been really good, really good.
Kim, by the way, wanted me to give you a little winky face about how great Parise's doing. That she was very big on Parise. You were not the last time just recently we had Kim on Grump.
But he wasn't playing well back then, but he is now. I mean, everybody, sometimes I have good podcasts, sometimes I have bad ones. I mean, all yours suck, TJ, but I have a high standard on my side.
Hey, the few and far between there. It's more bad than good for me. But we've got here Tampa then twice in a week span. There we play there Tampa on next Saturday, then the Carolina Hurricanes, then Tampa again. Those are three tough
back to back. That's a tough back to back. April Fool's Day.
Well, I was about to say the end of March. You still have the Devils, the Capitals, the Lightning, Hurricanes, Lightning.
And again, not 12 hour, not even a 24-hour difference there. On the back-to-back.
Does Tampa play the night before also? I mean, does Carolina play the night before also?
Oh, yeah. Let me look here. I'll pull that for you, Grum.
Because I'm interested to see. Because the NHL's pretty good at that.
They're going to tire out the Islanders and make sure they're super tired for that game against or they're going to tire out. Yeah, they play same situation. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the same way they did with Buffalo, too.
I don't understand. I do not understand how the Islanders have 3-4 days in between games, and you have playing back-to-backs.
With having the most games in the league. Like, we shouldn't be playing any back-to-backs anymore. We should just be playing every other day.
Well, actually, I think it works out better for us having a lot of time in between games. I think that's
that's true, too. Yeah.
With the older
Good point.
So, but we should close out. I mean, we could lose 5 or 6
tough game down the stretch. It's a tough little spit down the stretch. We're hot right now. Unless something happens to cool us off,
like the Devils and the Hurricanes in Tampa Bay, for instance,
like the Columbus Blue Jackets, the mighty Columbus Blue Jackets, and Joseph Kent.
But we could realistically go 5-5 and still make the playoffs, which I think we're going to go better than 5-5. I think we're going to go 7-3. 7-2-1.
Wait, so who
right now we're 7-2-1 too. Just so we're
who are we beating? I just
realistically we beat realistically. I think we beat Columbus.
Yeah.
I think we beat Buffalo.
Yeah.
I think we beat the Devils.
Oh, I don't see that.
I think we lose to the Capitals on Wednesday, the 29th.
They suck.
I think we beat Tampa.
Buh.
I think we lose to the Hurricanes. I think we beat Tampa again. I think we beat the Flyers. I think we lose to the Capitals.
Oh, God, you're in TJ territory.
Actually, I think we go into overtime with the Capitals and lose.
Okay.
And then we beat the Canadians. 7-2-1.
Can I look at those, TJ? I'm going to give you what I think my
Grumpy thinks we're going to lose to the Flyers because he's a big Flyer fan.
I hate the Flyers. I think we beat the Blue Jackets. I think we lose to the Sabres, lose to the Devils, lose to the Capitals.
Oh, hold on. Already, we've got a 3-game losing streak. Okay, continue.
Lose to the Lightning, lose to the Hurricanes, lose to the Lightning again. Beat the Flyers, lose to the Capitals, beat the Canadians. I think we're 2-7 2-8 on the way home.
Oh, stop!
It could happen. Everyone's getting a little bit too happy here. Everyone's starting to smell themselves a little bit. So I have to bring you back down to earth.
But a lot of people thought we were going to lose the Toronto game too.
I thought we were losing Toronto.
Yeah.
And honestly, the way the game was played, we should have lost to Toronto.
It was a big save, and that.
But that was a big momentum swing.
Huge turning point. Turning point. And then the goal that Samsonov has to stop that second goal. That's it. And then the little flip in from the point, Clutterbuck deflects it. Samsonov is asleep at the switch. There you go. There's your game. And just like that, it's over.
Yeah.
The Florida Panthers, by the way, played the Toronto Maple Leafs 3 times out of their last 11 games.
That could be 3 wins for them because Toronto sucks.
Are you really hanging it up on Toronto? You don't think they've got a chance?
I don't think they're going anywhere. I felt that way for the last week or so. If you remember, I said about a week ago, I don't like it. And then watching them live, I'm like, yeah, there's not enough commitment on this team.
Florida, I mean, you look at Florida's schedule. We'll look at the Florida and then Pittsburgh, because those are the only teams that really have a chance to make. You're looking here at Florida's schedule. They've got Toronto tomorrow.
Loss.
I think Toronto comes out and plays a much better game after getting embarrassed against the Islanders. Then they've got Then they've got an afternoon game against the Rangers.
Loss. That's a loss.
The Senators.
Loss. That's a loss.
Okay. The Maple Leafs.
Loss.
The Montreal Canadiens.
Loss. When they'll beat the Blue Jackets.
They'll beat the Blue Jackets. How about the Sabres?
They'll beat the Sabres.
How about the Senators?
They'll beat them the second time.
Then you've got the Capitals.
They'll beat them.
Then
Loss.
the Toronto and the Hurricanes.
Loss and
well,
loss.
heck, these teams might be benching play. The only thing I hate about that is they play 2 tough teams the last 2 games of the year. But at this point, the playoff seeding is already going to be determined, right? I think that Toronto will be too many points ahead of Tampa, so they'll already have secured the 2-spot and home ice advantage against Tampa. And I think at this point, the Hurricanes will have already won the division.
I think Florida sucks.
I worry about
Bobrovsky is terrible.
They stink.
He lets in like 6 goals always.
He'll either shut you out or give up 10 goals.
Yeah. Oh,
where's Pittsburgh? Where's our
that contract is brutal.
Whoa, Pittsburgh, Grumpy. Only 9 minutes left. I think that they could do it. Pittsburgh might actually close out a game against Colorado.
We'll start this. Pittsburgh, I'll give them a win for tonight.
3-2 Avs in the comments.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
it's
shit.
Starting. It's starting.
It's coming. I'm going back to loss for Pittsburgh tonight.
If it's 3-2, I'm going for a loss for Pittsburgh.
They're
Overtime loss.
They'll lose.
Dallas Stars.
Loss.
I think that's a loss.
That's a loss.
The Capitals.
That's a win. I'll give them a win there.
The Red Wings.
Win.
I think that's a win against the Red Wings.
Win, yeah.
Predators.
Win.
Bruins a loss.
Loss.
Flyers is a win.
That's a home game. That's a home game. I'll give them a win.
Okay, Devils.
Loss.
I have a question. Oh, go ahead. Finish.
Wild.
I think it's a win.
Win
against the Red Wings. Win against the Blackhawks.
Didn't they lose? Didn't they lose to the Blackhawks recently?
I'm sure they did. Oh yeah, there it is. It's 3-2. Holy shit!
I'm telling you.
Who scored though? Who scored?
Jari scored on himself.
No, whoever it was not Comfort. It was.
I'll tell you.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Devontae's.
Yeah.
Good old Devontae's.
Devon Taves is helping us there.
How many games do you have to see Tristan Jarry blow leads in the third period before you just go, this guy is just not the answer?
He sucks. He's awful. Holy crap. Oh, man. At this point, it's just kind of like a funny meme. We're just kind of shitting on him, but it honestly is true. He sucks. He cannot hold a third period lead.
Pittsburgh has outshot Colorado 40-26 tonight.
You mean the other way around?
No, Pittsburgh has outshot Colorado 40-26 tonight.
Really?
Yes, really.
Christ almighty. Bolduc over Aho, says JP.
I agree.
I just think he's better for what we're doing right now.
Yep.
And I think that's a guy where I know he had a little bit of a slump last year in the A, but he's played, I think, well. And what I've seen in the NHL, I've liked. Jason Cameron said, so glad Bailey was benched.
So was everyone. Even Bailey's mom is glad he's on the bench.
Oh, really, Grumpy? You think so? Sunday dinners, is he invited or still he's not allowed to come?
She lets him do the yard work on Sundays. Mow the lawn, Josh.
Frank K, Grumpy.
Best game all year considering the circumstances. Sorokin is ridiculously good. Number one goaltender in the world right now.
Whoa, Frank. Wow, I didn't know you had those extra at the end. But Shay said Romanov has looked really
good. That's right, Shay. That's right. You tell him.
Shay, you keep quiet. Shay, don't agree. Because says 9-3-1 without the ballerina. Keep it rolling. God almighty.
Played some shitty teams, including Winnipeg.
We're also 1-0 without Brock Nelson so far, with Brock Nelson injured. So we're doing well. And I think Frank mentioned that. Yeah, 1-0 without Brock Nelson. It's a team game. Yeah. Goon, Grumpy.
Grumpy, you predicated a shot to the testes last night. You predicted it. All right. Is that? I think he spelled that wrong. It's okay.
You predicated
shot to the testes last night, which I did. I predicted that. Are you now a believer or a squealer? I'm close to being a believer. Very, very close. I want to see how they do against the Devils and those teams. We're
going to be at the end of the caboose. We're going to jump on the Islanders bandwagon at the very end.
I wasn't happy with how the Islanders looked against Toronto, but we got a weak goaltending and a couple of bounces went our way, and then it steamrolled over there. I'm more concerned about Toronto than I am about the Islanders right now.
Wow, Grumpy. Come on, don't lose faith. Toronto's winning the cup this year, Grump. Don't you remember?
Hey, the team. My opinions change on how the teams perform. Nick Canetta says Romanov has continued to look much better. Has he been slowly changing in your guys' opinion? I think he's been a little bit better. I think the system change has helped him as well. He's not there yet, though. Gungun says, Ariel, you look younger and younger with each appearance. Stop kissing her ass. What is your secret? I'm an old fart and would like to start looking younger.
I got no secrets. I am still pretty young now. I'm only 27.
Oh my gosh, she's a baby.
Yeah, I'm very young.
Gungun, I think you can get younger if you had yourself one of those time machines and you go back in time.
Drink your water.
Drink it. No help. Sorry. Declan says, what are your thoughts on Verana's success in St. Louis, a 7th round pick?
I liked him. I wanted him.
For a 7th round pick, that's worth picking up a guy for a 7th, in my opinion.
He can score.
Yep, and that's something we need.
And he can skate.
Would you have rather had Verana for a 7th or Engvall for a 3rd?
Verana for a 7th. I was screaming for Verana.
There you go.
When they placed him on waivers, I don't know why Lou didn't go for him, but I think it was like a hush-hush thing between the GMs, like just let him be.
That's another failure by Lou Lamoriello. I'm glad you agree. Thank you.
I do. I agree.
Shay says, TJ still has that awful mustache. TJ, thoughts towards the stash is like the Islanders towards veterans. Think they look good, but they really don't. Yikes.
Hold on. Did you guys talk about Jacob Ron already?
Yes, we
did.
I'll tell you one thing. It's freaking nuts. I've said it originally. It's freaking absurd that we would not take a chance on the guy.
I know. That's bad. I would. Grumpy asked me. He said, "Would you rather have Verana for a 7th or Engvall for a 3rd?" Definitely Verana for a 7th. Obviously.
I would just pick them up when they was waived for free.
That's what I said too. But I think that was more of like a hush hush thing between like Yezerman and stuff. Like, just don't touch him. Let him be. He's going through something. Let him go down a little bit. I know, but Lou would never do something like that. That's why he's the most respected GM in the league.
Just to give you a little update, it's 4-2 Pittsburgh.
It's still losable. That's a game that Pittsburgh could still find a way to lose.
It is.
I'm not even sure. What does Rana's numbers look like since joining? Okay, he's got 5 goals and 1 assist since joining the Blues in 8 games.
I just picked him up on fantasy.
Oh, look at that. Change of scenery.
What a shock. A change of scenery has helped out.
And that's why I just want – now I'm glad this came up. I'm going to defend Lou Lamoriello, even though Ariel attacked him for being a shitty GM just a few seconds ago.
I'll attack him too. I'll stand with you in solidarity.
I just want to say that Beauvillier was never going to be anything more. And I said I was going to wait till the end of the year to move him because I wanted to give him that 1 extra year. It didn't work out. He had to be moved. So I don't blame him for waiting to trade him when he traded him. I don't care. If you could have gotten more from him 2 years ago, but you really hoped he'd turn out. He didn't. Sorry.
Bo, he's playing, everyone's, doing the typical comparing of the stats since the trade. Oh, Beauvillier's doing so much better than Bo Horvat. And it's like, switch positions, don't do the trade. We're not in a playoff spot right now. With Bo Horvat's not great play lately with production-wise. It's also not always about production. It's really not. He's doing so much more for the team, the little things. I know it's $8.5 million. You need to score goals with $8.5 million, but what he's doing right now without Barzal, I mean, Barzal struggled too without a star player for a couple of years. We saw it. I mean, when he played with Eberle in his prime and Beauvillier had his career year in 2018, we saw what Barzal was capable of. We know that Barzal is a point per game player, but he needs some talent around him. Not cementing your skates Lee and Josh Bailey.
Let me ask you, I like Bo Horvat's game. I do. I think he works hard. I think he's a better skater than what I originally had anticipated when he had come here. And he's a guy who I think is active in the offensive zone. He's not the reason we're in a playoff spot. Without him, I still think we're in a postseason spot.
Oh, I disagree.
It's all number 30. It's all number 30. That's the only reason we're in a postseason spot. It's the same reason why without Matt Barzal we're 9-3-1. It's because we have the best goalie in the NHL, best goalie on planet Earth, who's in the net for us right now. It's the only reason we're in a playoff spot.
And we
changed the system.
That's right. We went back to our defensive system. I'm higher on Horvat than TJ is. He's a really good two-way player.
Yeah, but the thing is, you say that with Sorokin, granted, yes, for sure. But the Pittsburgh game that we came back in late in the third period, we tied it with like 5 seconds left of the game. Horvat wins that draw.
Save, right? Where he made that huge save that stopped Pittsburgh from scoring and going up. And
was it that game?
I think
was that the same game? I think it was the game. I think it was the other game.
Close. Or maybe
But regardless, Horvat wins that offensive zone face-off. He keeps it in the zone. He circulates it. They score on that. He was the 4th or 5th person to touch the puck even after he took the faceoff, not counting the faceoff. He passed the puck after that. He doesn't get a point for that. But without him taking that draw, Nelson is good on draws, but he's not that good on draws. And Nelson, who would have been out there. Yeah, Jari helped us too.
Jari shit the bed.
Yes.
It wasn't because of Bo Horvat.
He got hit up in the face and he just said, how many easy goals I can let in a wrister from the blue line.
Those 2 goals he gave up when they had the 2-1 lead. Was it 2-1 that was the lead?
I think it was it 2-1, 3-1, whatever. I think it
was 3-1.
3-1. And he gives up those 2 goals within a minute, 45 seconds of one another. And both of them, he just totally out of position. No. I'm not here. I mean, Ariel, love you, but no. But Horvat was not the reason. It's the fact that
I'm not saying he's the sole reason, but he's important. He wins a lot of draws. He touches the puck a lot, 4th, 5th, and he doesn't get any nothing's on the stat sheet for that.
Solid two-way player.
I think people are really bashing him a little bit. Oh, he hasn't been on the scoreboard. He hasn't done this. He hasn't done that. Give him a little bit of time. Nobody bashes Matt Barzal when he doesn't get on the scoreboard.
There's only one guy that I know who's bashing him, and he's sitting right over here.
I mean, that's wild.
I think Bo Horvat is the Kirk Cousins of the New York Islanders.
I love Bo Horvat. I can't wait to get a jersey. Next time I'm on the pod, I'll be repping a Bo Horvat jersey.
All right.
Maybe an Engvall one too.
Oh, God, don't waste your money on that one.
An
I would
Engvall
never.
one. Oh.
Maybe you should get Adam Fox jersey.
You know what? Fox is my favorite player on the Rangers.
Ooh.
I have no shame in admitting that.
Okay. He's a pretty kid, isn't he?
No, he's not pretty at all.
Okay. All right. I don't know.
No.
If he walked by me in the street, I wouldn't know who he was.
Oh, that's crazy.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I love Fox. I think he's really good player. He's fun to watch. I hate Zibanejad. Oh,
I don't know. What the hell is he? Grumpy, there's somebody he looks like that I cannot put my freaking I cannot put. I'm trying. I'm
Yeah,
going to
put
pull
his
it up.
picture up.
Fox, Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Robbo.
Yeah.
Johnny Bravo. Oh, man. That's it. And Grumpy still never lets that one die. Here he
When
is.
TJ was young, he used to call Johnny Bravo Johnny Robbo.
When I was a kid, yeah. Okay. Who the hell does he look like? I cannot. It's on the tip of my tongue. Who the hell does he look like?
He's got a chin like Anders Lee.
But
He's
a face that's really small.
Yeah, he's got eyes like Brock Nelson, and he's got hair like Johnny Bravo. There you go.
I think he's got a chin like Johnny Bravo.
He's got that smirk. He's got a little smirk going. Doesn't he?
He's good.
He's smirking.
I would love Fox.
TJ, you're jealous of him because of his hair, aren't you? Is that why you think that Dobson's better? Because of his hair?
I'm a big Adam Pelech fan. Adam Pelech's the best defender in all of hockey. And if anybody says anything against him, I'm going to fight him. Anyway, he says here, TJ still has that awful mustache. TJ, thoughts towards the stash are like the Islanders towards veterans. Like, think they look good, but they really don't.
Oh, shots fired.
Damn, Shay. Damn. Scott Harris says, it's a really nice game last night. Much better, Bailey list, says Scott.
I feel bad for Bailey, man.
What?
I just feel bad. Like he was never a star, but the drop off has been brutal.
Do you know what he's like? He's like a freaking embezzler, a guy who's been stealing money from the bank for years and years and years. He's been stealing it from the Islanders ever since he got into the league.
Did you see the quote that he had? He's like, I didn't think I was playing that bad.
You know what? He's not even.
Yeah. I think Steven Rossner posted it, or somebody, or Kevin Kurz. He said like it was like they did an article, and there's a quote that Bailey's like, I didn't think I was playing that bad to be taken out of the lineup, but it is what it is. Bales, come on, man.
As soon as he said some shit like that, I would want to punch him through the computer screen. You freaking just heartless piece of shit.
Here's the thing. Not only is he a horrible hockey player, he's totally self-aware. He has no self-awareness whatsoever. Yeah. Everyone knows you suck. Your mom told you so. You were not invited to Sunday dinner because you suck so bad.
I was getting nervous when he was racking up those points. I was like, oh, God, he's going to be plastered to the first line again. And there he was in that one game. I forgot what game it was. Was it L.A.? When Pajot came back? I think he played in the L.A. game on the first line. Then he got bumped to the fourth line, and that was the end of it.
Wow.
I'm trying to find this post. Honestly, it sounded like one of those fake things they attach like a quote where it's like, oh, man, I really hate the New York Islanders, where it sounded like something that's just too hard to believe.
Yeah, I think it was Rossner.
It was Rossner.
Okay. I'll have to try to find it here. I've been trying to find, and for people who maybe have it archived, I cannot remember who sent me originally the Josh Bailey clip where he's talking about the Mr. Softy. But Andrew L. Grumpy, I'll let you read that.
I don't know if you saw, but Mike Milbury was on Spittin' Chicklets on their most recent episode, if that's still on your guys' radar. Yeah, we love Milbury on this show. We'd have a lot of fun with him.
Now we just need to find a way to get in touch with Spittin' Chicklets.
Yeah,
to get in touch with Mike Milbury.
It's so annoying that Lou doesn't let anyone from the organization go on there.
He's a clown.
It would be so good for like the fan base. They talk a lot about the Islanders. They've made shirts for them. I'm
surprised the only guy he'd let Fredo go on that show. Go ahead, Fredo. Show him how smart you are as a failed AHL general manager.
But like a lot of the guys seem like they have good personalities. Like you would be able to see some of their personalities come through other than, just the typical hockey talk.
Yep.
This might be a good one. This is not the clip, but it's a Josh Bailey one nonetheless. Power play's been poor. Let's listen to Grumpy's response.
He's got you just watch the team just slough off him. Go ahead. We dare you to shoot the puck, and he just won't do it. If I was Barry Trotz, I'd come out there, I'd take a stick, and I'd smack him in the back of the head when he comes back to the bench. Listen to me, you piece of shit. Shoot the puck.
That's what you tell him, huh?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good one.
That is too funny. I'm trying to find this article.
Michael Watts there.
Rudel forced Bailey into retirement similar to Komarov. I don't think he wanted Komarov to leave. All he's got to do is just make him have an injury. That's all he needs to do. Make him have an injury.
That's it, just Grumpy. Just say, hey, we're going to go ahead and slip on some black ice here headed to your car.
You know what? This piece of shit, Jari, is icing the puck trying to score a goal.
Christ, no, tell me it's a joke.
It's not a joke. They've had an empty net for 2 minutes, and he's iced the puck twice.
What's the game? I think it was the first game we played them, like when we had them close, the 2 close games. And Jari went and played the puck and threw it up the ice to Parise. Yeah. And he just got a quick shot off net. I mean, Parise, if he would have taken his time, he was in there alone. I'm like, I tweeted, I'm like, death taxes and Jari passing to the Islanders.
He's so bad. I don't know. I don't know what they see in him. But here's the thing: if Pittsburgh ever played the Islanders in the series, I pick the Islanders. I don't care. I don't care even if Gordie Howe reincarnate came back and Gretzky and Mario came back.
Yeah,
still pick the Islanders because you have that sieve in net.
Michael Boucher, Grumpy.
We learned that firing Trotz was Lou's biggest mistake. Nope, disagree. They tuned Trotz out. They tuned him out.
And I think that the reason this style worked, or the reverse, or reverting back to this style worked, is kind of like
other teams hadn't
not talented enough to win, and they were not expecting us to go back to this style.
Other teams haven't seen it from us.
Not enough recently. So like, oh crap, okay, they're going back to playing this way again.
And it makes
you can't play for that. It's completely different. Yeah.
It's what bad teams do. Teams that aren't real good. They play ultra tight defense and hope to get a break the other way. That's what they do.
And maybe you can go ahead and bury one in the back of the net, and as another team's chasing a goal, you're able to score another one in, and then hey, we're in good shape. Here you go, Grumpy. By Tony Cheese.
I have some bad news. Drew was on his way to a Miami Heat game, and his erratic driving caused a train to derail while carrying toxic chemicals.
Oh, no.
Who knew South Florida could get any worse?
Oh, no, Drew. I didn't know that happened. Tony Cheese, thanks for the update. Matthew S. said, yet you wanted to be a general manager talking about Barry Trotz. Can't say Lambert doesn't deserve credit for turning things around. Let me ask you this. How much credit do we give Lane Lambert? Because I know Grumpy and I have talked about this before, but I want to know how much credit you give Lane Lambert for this reverse.
Why don't you give him a grade based on 100? Or however you want to do, a letter grade, whatever.
72.
Wow, 72.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. For a first year, look, the system that we're reverted back to is a system that we are very well versed in for the last couple of years under Trotz. So it's not like, and it's the same team. So it's not like it's a new team that he's teaching this to and they have to buy in. The players know, okay, look, we tried this. It didn't work. We're not talented enough. We have to revert back to this stay-at-home trap-style hockey if we want to be successful. So, I mean, wouldn't necessarily put all of it on Lambert. And this is a veteran group. I mean, how much coaching is he really, really doing?
On 100.
Now, see, that sounds like we're downplaying. But Grumpy, I want you to respond first.
I give him a 90. And the reason I give him a 90, how many coaches are willing to admit that they made a mistake and change their system midstream for the betterment of the team? First-year head coach, no less.
Well, listening to the coach is definitely a plus, that they're buying into him and listening. Because they could have been like, screw it, I want to play the offense.
But the coach has got them to buy in, but just how many coaches are willing to say, okay, what I'm doing isn't working, I'm going to change it up? When do you see that? How often do you see that? I remember Belichick in 2018 with the Patriots. They had no wide receivers. couldn't throw the ball, offensive line, but they could run block, and they changed into a running team and won a Super Bowl. Very few coaches are willing, their egos are too big to admit that they make mistakes. I give total credit to Lane Lambert for just saying, you know what? I know we need to score more goals. It's not working. Let's go back to the old system. And I think he's done a masterful job, like you said, of manipulating, trying to find everything that worked from Bailey, then cutting ties with him.
That's a good point.
Where he's moving guys up and down in the lineup to spread the suck around, so to speak.
That's fair.
But not wearing out Zach Parise. You've seen a resurgence in Zach Parise the last month where he was dead in the water. They cut his playing time back a little bit. They took him off some of the other things, and all of a sudden he's come back fresher. I love what he's done. The moving of not being stuck with Romanov and Dobson, moving Mayfield to play on the first pairing with Pelech, putting Pulak with Romanov, a solid veteran. And then now you have Bolduc with Dobson.
But the Aho Romanov pairing, like what we had that originally, it was a problem, and then they moved Dobson with Pelech and Romanov with Pulak, I believe, and then it was Mayfield and Aho, which right. Mayfield and Aho struggled a little bit too. But then we reverted back. I forgot what game it was, and I'm watching. I'm like, why is Dobson and Aho out there together? They were pinched in the zone for a very long time. They couldn't get the puck out, and it wasn't even like they were out there with defensive forwards like a Pajot or a Parisi. It was like, what are we doing? That is a decision that I don't like. That
I think that initially happened once Pelech got hurt. I think is when they were first paired up together. I forgot who you had. Witherspoon was playing up at some time. And I mean, I think, losing Pelech, they had to really juggle some things. I was surprised they didn't bring Sallow back at all, to be honest with you. I mean, how far has he fallen off the radar?
Yeah.
But you're seeing Bolduc. I mean, here's the thing. If Bolduc can play with Dobson and they can perform like they did last night, I'm happy with that pairing.
And even taking, was it Bolduc taking him out of the lineup at his hometown arena for Aho? Or was that Witherspoon?
It was Witherspoon.
It was Witherspoon.
Witherspoon. Yeah. Okay. Because Bolduc, I don't think Aho should come back in. I'm not saying he's bad. I've liked what he's been doing this year. He's gotten much better. Last year, he was horrid. I hated the guy. This year, he's looked much better. But why are you going to – it's working. The Dobson, Bolduc, like you said, Dobson did look much better yesterday. And if it is because – if Dobson's defensive issues were because his partner is always out of position, and Aho plays a very similar game to Dobson. Mm-hmm. They're both a run and gun, join the rush type of defenseman. It doesn't – someone's got to sit back, and it shouldn't be Dobson. Dobson's better than Aho. So if you have Bolduc, who – wasn't a standout guy last night, but sometimes that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I'm glad you finally come around to my way of thinking, Ariel. Only took a couple
always,
hours.
Right?
Gungun says, I like how all the out of New Yorkers were saying Sorokin made the save of the year last night on Twitter. Meanwhile, he made that same save already this year before and last year as well. Yeah. I just think it was, you need to know who's in net. And I thought the nonchalantness with which Gustafsson, was it Gustafsson?
Yes.
Took that shot tells you all you need to know about Toronto. I mean, do you think that if it was Mark Messier, for instance, taking that shot, do you think he just kind of floats it in there? Nah, I think he skates in the net and runs the goalie too. I mean,
I don't know.
I just think that he just threw the stick up and the guy, he didn't even look at it. Just, this is an easy one, tap and goal. And he tried to flip it up. Man, hammer that thing. He didn't hammer it. If he would have hammered it, he probably,
when you're in that tight, that's a tap in. I mean, most goalies don't come across like that. I think these teams look and see that Sorokin have made these saves. I mean, how many times have you seen like crazy saves by like that Reamer save the other night? And you're like, okay, that's luck. 9 out of 10 times, that's a goal. But it's not luck with Sorokin.
The reason why it's not luck with Sorokin, there is a certain element of luck.
Sure.
He kind of puts the stick in a place, hopes to take as much space. But the reason why, to me, he's the best goalie in the world and will be for the foreseeable future is because he's more athletic than any other goalie in the league. Mm-hmm. He has that athleticism where he side to side, there's nobody better. You know who's wrong? You're gonna get crazy. You want to hear a hot take?
Oh
He's
God.
reminding me of Hasek.
Yeah.
He really is. He's just that good. He's just
Yeah.
Hasek had some bad games too. I hate to tell you, but I mean, he's. You think Buffalo makes the Stanley Cup final without Hasek that year? They lost to the Stars.
I think there's a lot of teams in the league right now that if they have Sorokin, they're a Stanley Cup contender.
Absolutely.
That aren't even in the playoffs right now. I think
Yep.
they're a Stanley Cup
If you
contender.
put Sorokin on Florida or Pittsburgh,
Edmonton.
Edmonton, man, Edmonton's so bad defensively though. I just hate it. Edmonton.
But Sorokin, I mean, anything is possible when you have Sorokin in net like that.
He's phenomenal. He is phenomenal.
He really is just stellar.
And he won't win Vezina.
It's sick. It's sick. It makes me, I'm so salty. I don't care. I will wear it on my sleeve. I am so pissed off at that.
But the other guys' numbers are better. They are. But
you have to take skill into account. It's not going to be, it's funny because last year Shesterkin won it and it was not a unanimous vote. So one person voted for Sorokin, which was wild. It is definitely not going to be unanimous. It's going to be close voting, I think.
Probably Adam Fox.
Yeah.
Adam Fox had a vote, huh, Grumpy?
Yeah, maybe.
After many minutes of scrolling, Grumpy, I finally found a clip. This was by Grant Hakeem. I forgot Grant sent this to us, and thank you, Grant, for this.
They don't let that stuff go, but we got too many softies on this team. You know, hey, Mr. Salty, could I have a little self-serve ice cream? Well, what kind do you like? I'd like the Josh Bailey special. You know, the kind that melts in your hand as soon as it comes out of the thicket. That's what I want. How about, what's the tall one over there that's all limp? Oh, that's our Brock Nelson banana split special. Blah. I mean, these guys suck. I'm just sick and tired of their weakness back there. They're just terrible. They sicken me. Their weakness sickens me. But Josh Bailey, just the way he passes the puck up the boards, picked off. Ugh, disgraceful.
I'll be honest with you, Grumpy. I'm going to miss that. If Josh Bailey's no longer on the team, I'm going to miss. I'm not sure you're going to have somebody you're going to hate as much as Josh Bailey. Well, maybe Simon Holmstrom.
Yeah, that's easy. On draft night, what did I say about Simon Holmstrom? He's Josh Bailey 2.0. Right from the minute he was drafted, they pissed me off so bad not taking Tomasino, Kaliev, McMichael to pick this piece of trash who was not expected to go anywhere but late in the second round. They pissed away a first-round draft pick, the only one he's ever had as general manager of the Islanders. This is the guy that you waste a pick on. And I watched this game. I'm like, this looks like Josh Bailey 2.0.
That's smart. He's super smart, Grump.
Super smart. Hey, Ogilvy, it's not like algebra class, is it?
Nick C said last night was the best night of the year for the Islanders. We won and everyone that's chasing us lost. That never happens for us.
True.
Yeah.
And of course, today, Pittsburgh finds a way to beat Colorado. Couldn't tell you how.
Yep. Jeff Carter looked really good today.
Stephen A said, wow, Grumpy being positive. Somebody write it down. I think there's reasons to be positive right now with the way we're playing. We haven't had a lot of reasons to be, I think, positive earlier this year.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the playoffs yet.
UBS is going to be fun in the playoffs, even if it's a first-round exit. That would be good for them to see.
They got 2 games.
2 games?
You should make your way over, Grumpy, for a playoff game.
It'll probably be 5 games, gentlemen's sweep.
No way.
Oh, God. I think it just depends on who we play.
7.
Michael Watts says Sorokin, that save was the turning point.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Gungu said, at what point is a public apology from TJ and Grumpy to Anders? Notice no longer average Anders concerning his bounce back year that's taken place. Ariel, please set these 2 nincompoops straight.
I like Anders. I mean, he's definitely, he's good at what he does. He cannot skate. He's good at just sitting in front of the net. That's it. But I like Lee. I do. I think he has a good physical aspect to him. I think he's a gritty player. He's very difficult to move in front of that net. Almost impossible to move. His tips too. I mean, his deflection goals, or just his deflections in general, even if they're not a goal, they are savvy.
The only reason that average Anders Lee is even relevant at this point is because the game has changed in the NHL where they don't have big physical defensemen who would easily box them out previously. Now they got, the little puck movers back there. So a big goof like that is able to stand like a totem pole in front of the net and make those deflections. That's the only thing he does well, and he does it very well. But everything else in his game is subpar, and 48 points is not enough for a guy who makes $7 million a year.
And I want to talk about the bounce back, right? Usually for a bounce back, I'm expecting increased production.
2 points.
Played 76 games last year and putting up 46 points and having 72 games played now with 48 points. That's not necessarily the bounce.
It's just about identical to last year.
Yeah, it's, so. I remember last year he struggled so much at the beginning of the year because of that ACL. Remember that? And yeah, I guess it carried over.
That's right. So he's please stop.
Anyway, I do want to show now. Shay had sent this to us, and thank you, Shay, for sending this here to us. It was Andrew Gross that got the tweet saying, I didn't think I was playing poorly. At the same time, decisions are made, and I respect that.
Oh,
what a wimpy thing to say.
That is terrible.
What a shitty thing to say.
It really is.
You
so
freaking
bad.
non-competitor, just a limp
This is him. Just
like, how do you read a room, dude?
He's a wet noodle, this guy.
He's been bad.
He's been bad for 13 years.
I still want to contribute. I want to be a member of why this team is a winner. I want to get back out there and I want to earn that spot and show you why I shouldn't be taken. Now, that's how you answer a question not like that. Not saying, I don't think I was playing that poorly, but at the same time, decisions are made and I respect that.
You know what?
It is what it is. I'm no longer in a lineup. Well, that's okay.
Doesn't matter.
We lost in the first. We lost in game 7 because I gave up a shorty, or I went ahead and didn't play my assignment and tried to get off the ice early and fucked up in game 7. Well, it is what it is. I've never seen a bad guy being at so much peace with something that he should care so much about.
Well, he is doing the best he can for the Islanders right now by not playing for the team.
Oh, man.
It's the best he's looked all year.
I kind of will miss him, though. I'll miss kind of like.
No. How do you even know he's on the – I can't tell you how many games this year they said, oh, Josh Bailey, through the second period, Bailey was a scratch today. I'm like, oh, I never noticed him when he's on the ice anyway playing. So it's like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
You cut there, Grumpy.
Fire TJ. Hire D-cut.
He has the Barzell takes, man. D-cut. I don't like those Barzell takes. You got to stop that.
Yeah, you got that D-cut? Tighten up your act
like
there, brother.
Yeah.
Ariel had enough with you and your antics.
Yeah.
JP says Lilligren tends to sleepwalk at times, and he did yesterday. Keith hasn't corrected it, and he's coached him since their days in the A. Yeah, he was terrible yesterday. I can't tell you. It's like, dude, get your head out of your ass. What are you doing? Just pretend like I don't know, he's playing.
No sense of urgency.
Well, not just no sense of urgency. He's got the puck. He looks up. The puck's still moving. It's like, I didn't have it. And then it's like, I'm trying to clear the zone. Right to a little bit of force. He's like Bailey on the defensive end. Soft, weak.
Soft in the week. My God. Nick C. Grumpy.
I really like DiPietro as a commentator last night. Very honest and genuine about everything. And I like how he broke down the other games going on. I don't think he's a great commentator.
I like Ricky D in the commentator role. I think he's got a good personality. I like PK Subban. I like him in that role a lot.
I like him and Callahan together. I think they're great.
They're good voices, but the takes, the boring. I know it's true, but it's like, come on, guys.
They're entertaining.
Yeah.
That's what the intermission should be. Entertaining.
And I mean, people still are talking about it. They had Islanders fans, retweeting that picture of them like this sleeping and stuff. I mean, so it's good. It's good buzz, I guess.
But
it's
isn't that
true,
what you thought? Well, look at TNT. Look at TNT. Is Paul Bissonnette the greatest commentator ever?
No, he's funny though.
I mean, in the podcast world, is the grumpy old man the greatest? Well, yeah, he is.
Yeah, obviously.
It's the entertainment factor. That's what people want. They want to be certainly in intermission. I want to laugh a little bit. Did you notice? And I took a picture. I should have sent it to you, TJ. AJ Malesko's hair.
Oh, I knew you were
styled yesterday. You know what ESPN told her? That rat's nest, that little rat nest that you got going on there, come in 10 minutes early. We'll have somebody put a little conditioner on that shit. We're going to curl it up for you.
Hold on.
Come out.
Hold on. Do you think is that exactly what they said? As they referred to it as rat nest, Grumpy? I don't think that's what they said.
She definitely gets a glam squad for ESPN. But I love AJ.
Absolutely.
I love AJ.
I like when her and Butch they'll do. Grumpy, you about to show us your phone like a boomer? Her looks really nice.
It does look really nice. Definitely has a glam squad.
Hold on. I'll tell you one thing. She looks really good all over the place, Grumpy. She got the makeup done well. Got the hair.
No. Look, whose hands do those look like?
I don't know. It's black. I can see you watching TV. Hold on. Let the screen go black. I can see the TV reflection in the background there, Grumpy.
It's like, hello, Tommy.
Oh, stop.
She's got those man hands just like Giselle Bundchen does. But yes, I thought her hair,
small midget hands. What do you want to say?
Her hair looked much, much better yesterday. And it was so noticeable than what she usually go, like she just rolled out of bed doing the walk of shame on the way to the studio, that I felt I had to take a picture and compliment her on it. Good job.
There it is, Grumpy. Complimenting there.
Google says, Ariel, if TJ and Grumpy were each drifting out to sea on a glacier, who do you think would survive the longest?
I like how he asked Ariel to decide.
Probably Grump.
Absolutely.
Sorry, TJ.
I gotta ask the reasoning and rationale behind that.
I don't know. I just feel like he's more experienced in life.
He's tougher than you. I'm tougher than you. You speak a good game, but I'm tougher than you.
Oh, bullshit. Nick C said, hot take. I'd rather play Carolina with Pacioretty and Shechikov out. They don't have that game breaker type of player. Aho's very good, but they don't have an elite finisher.
I agree with that. With the Aho's very good, but they don't have an elite finisher. I mean, I'm really not. If we play this system and Sorokin is crazy, I'm not scared of no one. None of them.
Every other team in the playoffs, they have no shot, but the Islanders, they do.
No. But they realistically, like all jokes aside, no team wants to play us either. We're annoying to play against. Whether they beat us in 6 or 7 or 5, we're going to wear them down regardless.
I don't think it bothers Carolina playing us at all.
But look at what, and now granted, Boston's a better team than we are. Even last year, they were a better team, but they play that same gritty physical style. Carolina beat Boston, but Boston took something from Carolina. They did not look the same, as fast, as hard on the forecheck in that Ranger series that they did against Carolina.
It was the goaltender. That's why they lost to the Rangers. And here's the thing, Carolina couldn't win a road playoff game last year. They couldn't.
Yeah, no, they couldn't. But they were undefeated at home, and they lost at home.
Yep, that one game. Let's go because they had a third-string goalie in there. The Rangers, I don't think the Rangers dominated Carolina. Their goaltender was weak.
But yeah, and Shesterkin played really well.
Yep.
That series. He did play really well that series.
Carolina's good. I like it. Carolina's good.
Tampa.
I wish we had Carolina's roster, I'll tell you that much.
Sure.
Yeah.
This show would be over, though, because I wouldn't have nothing to be grumpy about. Honestly.
I was about to say, Nikas has had a hell of a year, too, for them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
he's been really, really well this year.
Yep.
I mean, you look at it like guys because of they just have a that's a team to where.
And Britt Burns was a big pickup for them defensively.
It was a piece they needed, a type of player they needed on their team.
Yeah.
Remember, Hamilton wasn't there last year. They missed a little bit from the previous season.
Mm-hmm.
They had Tony DeAngelo, but Britt Burns, he's a rock solid veteran back there. You forget what he brings to the table. I like Carolina. I think they're a threat.
Yeah, they're good.
They're a threat.
Yeah. They're just not proven in the playoffs, though.
Well,
and like Freddie Anderson is just he's not good. He's not that good.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, we will.
Firsthand knowledge.
And losing Svechnikov really hurts too.
That's a big loss.
I think so too.
That's huge.
And Pacioretty, those are two big losses.
Yeah, I mean Pacioretty's done. I don't think he comes back.
No.
Jackson obviously very happy that Josh Bailey not in the lineup as well. Rick Roma said $8.5 million. You have to be more than positionally sound. The season is on the line and Horvat isn't scoring. It's a problem.
You know what they say? No coffee for positionally sound players.
Coffee's only for closers.
Only for closers.
We had a few comments here. A few people saying, "Well, he's not on an $8.5 million contract right now, so what's the deal?" I'm always looking towards.
He's on a $5.5 million contract right now.
I just worry about what are we going to see next year? What are we going to see on a
30 goals, 40 assists, 70 points, maybe more.
Okay.
I think he'll
Barzell with Barzell and him?
I think he'll have more goals and assists.
Sure. Okay. So even if you flop those 40 and 30.
Yeah, there you go. 40 and 30. Watch out. You're in Andy Francis territory. 8 guys are going to have 20 goals. How many you got? 2?
With
Hey,
20?
Parise, he did say
Parise's got
Parise.
1 away.
He did say Parise would have a chance to hit 20 goals, Grumpy, and you called him fucking mad and nuts.
We have Nelson, Horvat, Lee.
Horvat has not scored 20 goals with us.
Oh, with us.
Stop.
Okay.
He scored 20 goals. Come on.
He had 31 when he came here. No, he's not scored 20 goals this team with 2 guys, Croc and Average. That's it.
Parise's going to get it, though.
We'll see.
No adoption might get it. He's
No.
average about a goal a game the rest of the way out.
Yeah. Him and that and your $10 million contract can take
I'm
a hike.
telling you guys are going to look back on this, seeing that he's earning $10 million a year, and you're going to say,
You know what,
Parise
TJ?
is right.
Wherever I am, I will message you on Twitter if that happens and say, you know what, you were right. Hats off.
If we still have a Twitter account.
Don't worry. You can keep your hat, Ariel. That ain't happening.
I know it's not.
I already know the tweet I'm going to put out if he doesn't get it. But anyway, Joseph C said, I hate the Bruins, but their goal differential is 114.
Yeah.
Second goal scored, first and goals left. That's ridiculous. 114 goal differential.
The difference between the Bruins of this year and Tampa Bay of a few years ago, Tampa Bay had no toughness on that team. None. 0. They got bullied by Columbus in that series. And the goalie got hot. But that's not the problem with Boston. Boston plays like we do, just better. A lot better. And that's why they're a tough team to play against. I like I said, I don't see anybody beating Boston this year. It would be a real failure if they don't win the cup for them.
They're not even close to my favorite. I have like 3 teams ahead of them to win the cup.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Not even.
I just don't like their depth scoring. If they come across a good defensive team, like it's just if you shut down their top 6, or just hold them off a little bit, they're not scoring.
I don't know. Hold
I know, Grumpy. I thought Grumpy's going to have a quick response to that in the way he smiled.
I just don't see it. And Olmark, I mean, he could really, really crap the bed.
Well, they put the other kid in there. So you put the other kid in. He's been great too.
But even him, he doesn't have any really experience either, and he's been a little shaky in the beginning of the season. They didn't really give him all that much time, and now he's kind of coming to his own, which is great. But
he's been the better of the 2 since January. Yeah. He's been he's way better. He probably second to Sorokin in the league for goaltenders. Gustafson's been really good too.
I was just going to say, Gustafson.
But he's been right up there the second half of the year. He's been really, really good.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they haven't been. They've been great, but they're not proven in the playoffs.
I'd rather be Boston going to the playoffs as well than the Islanders. I'd rather be Boston.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure you writing them off like that. No shot.
No, of course they have a shot. But
let's bring up Scott Harris's comment.
I want to bring this up first.
Lack of talent. I'll say it again, Grump. 82 points in a playoff position.
Okay. Just making the play. This is the entire thing that I think the mindset is the mindset's not right for Islander fans. The goal is not to squeak in at the 8th seed to make the postseason. The goal is to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
If you get there and you can win a Stanley Cup, great. If you make it as the 8th seed, fantastic. As the 7th seed. With the way that you've seen the Islanders play this season, do you say that's a team that's going to win the Stanley Cup? I'm going to Vegas and I'm putting 100 on the Islanders winning for Stanley Cup, and I'm betting with my brain, not my heart. I don't know.
Not me. I'm not doing that.
Neither am I. You said you wanted to put up Scott's comment there, Grumpy.
Yeah. Lee does not win corners consistently. He has a super high turnover rate, especially last night on the power play. He has not been good in the corners this year. It's been noticeable. I'm like, this guy used to go in the puck with the corners. He'd come out with it. Now it's just, okay, the other team just take it. Noticeable.
We've got here.
Oh, now he's even below average in the corners. He's not even average. He's below average, Anders Lee. Subterraneanly average.
I think he's average. I think he does some things really well, some things below average.
He does one thing well. One thing.
I think as much shit as we do give him, I think he does have that upside down frowny face down to a freaking T.
Can
Grumpy.
you put
Probably
up
the
a
best
picture?
frowny face.
Can you put up a picture of Sergeant Slaughter and Anders Lee side by side?
Shit. Okay, I'll try to get it.
Because if you look at the two of them, I wonder if Anders Lee is Sergeant Slaughter's son.
Sergeant Slaughter and I do have something in common. We both have pretty sick stashes growing.
That's that seedy looking mustache. And that's in order, maggot.
Okay, continue reading comment.
Yeah. Okay. Mark A says Romanov has played much better. Dobson is not good defensively. Oh, Mark, why are we still having this conversation?
I agree, Mark.
Prince Chicken Wing says we've been saying for years that Barzal needs an elite winger to be successful. Now Horvat is playing with the same shitty forwards. He can't do anything. Double tripping fiend on every play.
I guess that's true, right? We did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's the guy, right? Who else? Who's been playing? Hasn't Casper been playing on the first line recently?
Yeah.
It's like, why? Why are you wasting your time with a guy who plays the banjo from Deliverance? I don't know. You tell me. Brian K says, "Hi guys, best podcast. Sitting here listening with my son." Brian, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And hello, Mr. Son. Appreciate it. Declan says he deserves to be ripped. Don't even try. He's good at faceoffs. This is for you, Ariel. $8.5 million, plenty of $2 million contracts, can win faceoffs and play defense like Manny Malhotra. Stop it now. Don't justify his lacklusterness.
The Manny Malhotra. Yeah.
Lacklusterness. Give me a break.
Who is that a picture of that Declan has? What
Bashing.
is that really? I was like, that guy looks really familiar.
I tell you, look at his lips. Does he have lipstick on?
No, he just looks so young. He looks like he's 19 years old or 18.
Looks like he's got a little lip something going on there.
Lacklusterness, playing 25 minutes a night in every situation when Pajot was down, playing on the penalty, literally taking over Pajot's responsibilities.
You figure when it's 7 of those games, he'd at least have more than 1 point.
He
It was too easy. That was way too easy.
I know. I really just set you up for that one.
You sure did. You just threw it up, and I just blam slammed it home.
Yep.
Too easy.
Oh God.
Okay. Yeah. Look at that. Tell me this. Look at that. That's his illegitimate son, Anders Lee, is Sergeant Slaughter.
Well,
Bob Remus. His name is Bob Remus. His real name. Bob Remus.
I love Lee.
Look at that. And that's in order. Look at that.
I'd say Anders has a better frowny face than Sergeant Slaughter does.
Yeah.
Tommy B says Phil flip-flops on everything. He screamed for Meyer or Horvat to improve our offense.
Phil, man. Phil's outside. I can't wait to get Phil on here again.
I know. Phil's yeah.
JP says, I tend to agree with Andy Francis on Holmstrom. Unless it's that he sucks, he's wrong. Is he going to be a star? No. But he could be a productive player, especially when he develops. No. He's a bottom 6 guy. He's Pierre Engvall.
Pierre is better than Holmstrom. Come on.
Yeah. I take.
He actually he is. He is. Yeah. He's a better skater. But my point is, he's just a ham and egger bottom 6 guy. That's all he is. He's roster fodder.
Well, no, Patrick is just reminding us.
I like Holmstrom. I don't think he's a stud, but I don't think he's the answer. But I like him.
A stud. If you look at his picture, no woman.
No. Yeah. No.
Oh, there we go here.
What was that other comment you just put up?
It was said red hot take on Holmstrom, Grumpy.
Okay, no, there was another one you had before that. Okay.
About Holmstrom winning the Conn Smythe?
Oh, Holmstrom winning the Conn Smythe. Unless it's Thomas Holmstrom, who used to come out of retirement, used to play for the Red Wings, the answer probably. JP says, we already talked about that one. He's not going to develop. He sucks. He will not be a star.
Okay.
Rob G says, our pal Rob G says, wow, you heard it first.
Or maybe from TJ, he said the Islanders are hot. Wow. Yeah, the Islanders are hot. They're playing
good
hot right now.
TJ must have took his happy pills today.
I had to have a little talk with TJ.
Come on, TJ. You've been negative. Just accept it. Yeah, just own it, man.
Well, I own it. What has there been to be?
Your job is to be the happy guy.
My job is to be honest to the listeners of the show, Grump.
Your job is to host me. That is your job. You are the facilitator. You're not even supposed to have a take. You're supposed to be like Brendan Burke. And I'm supposed to be.
What a bland job that would be, Grumpy.
That's your job. You're bland. You're dull and boring. That's why when you and Phil are on, everyone falls to sleep.
Do you think Hickey takes the seat from Butch when he's ready to go?
He's not.
I
good
hope
enough.
so. I
He's
think it
not
was
good
this
enough.
year.
I like Hickey.
I don't know. He's just another. It's like, why does everyone have to be a substandard Islander player to get a job? Just
I wish you just would have kept Parrish and then said that's it.
That's Parish. I loved Parish. Loved Mark Parish in that spot. Loved him.
I like Butchie. He's definitely biased and a homer, but I love him.
It's so bad now I can't even listen to him.
I watched.
Sam Rosen has kind of went down the tubes a little bit too this year. He's getting old.
Yeah, he's got to be in his 70s.
Yeah, he's getting a little old.
Who was that young guy they brought on?
He took over for Jim Gordon. You think about that. I remember Jim Gordon and Bill Chadwick doing the Ranger games way back in the 70s.
Wow.
The big whistle, Bill Chadwick, former, and he was like Butch at the end too. Just, you guys get old. I mean, it's tough. It's tough to follow, really.
Yeah. I love Brendan.
Yeah, Brendan's great. I mean, he's going to be doing the Yankees pretty soon. That's why they're working Alan Fearing? Fearing? Whatever his name is. Alan. I'll just call him Alan. They've been working him in, and I think he's actually good. He's good too. Brendan's really good. He's going to get that Yankee gig, and he should take it.
It's just so hard to get rid of Brendan, like get his voice out of your head.
Yeah, the other guy's good though. I have no problem with the other guy. But here's the thing. All right, Ariel, I'm going to pose a question.
I do like really quickly the young guy that they brought on the speak. I did like when Butch was calling the wrong names. He was laughing at Butch. I fucking rolled because I'm like, he's not used to Butch making those consistent mistakes.
What did he?
Go ahead.
What did he call Oliver Wahlstrom? Oliver Walterson. That was so funny. That was hysterical.
But I mean, let me ask you a question. If you had an option to work for the Islanders or work for the Yankees, who are you picking?
The Yankees. They're way more they have more notoriety.
Absolutely.
And I think that's like his dream.
Yeah.
That was like his dream job.
Good for him. Good for him.
I hope he gets it.
He will.
Yeah.
CJ, the Red Lupin Power Ranger, says the Geico Gecko is missing his broom hand. TJ found it and glued it under his nose.
What the hell's the Geico Gecko?
The Gecko.
Get the little commercial. I've got it now.
You haven't been pushing the little broom? Here we go. Patrick Hamo says, laugh out loud. TJ has philosophical problems with the way the hockey team is run.
That's me. That's
well, I don't like the way it's run either, but, we're going to make the playoffs and either get swept or gentleman sweep, probably by Carolina.
JG.
Wait a minute. Was TJ just saying something positive about the Islanders? I can't believe it. You see that? Now you have the reputation for being the negative guy. That's not your role on this show.
We've won what? We've come away. How many wins do we have out of 20 games?
I don't know, a lot.
We played well. Hey, when the team's winning good, you're going to get praise. When the team's not playing well, not so much.
You just read the comments and let me do the talking, and this show will be much better.
No.
Once again, CJ, the Red Bull Power Ranger says, can you imagine if we gotten Timo Meyer? Yesterday's game was rare for us to get 7 goals. We're lucky if we get 2 or 3 a game. But if we got Meyer, we could be scoring 5 to 8 goals a game. For those uninitiated, CJ, the Red Lupin Power Ranger, just loves him some Timo Meyer.
We were going to go ahead and score about 5 goals a game and win the cup if we had Timo Meyer, but Lou picked the wrong guy. Here you go, Shea Grumpy.
We could have gotten McDavid and TJ would still be upset.
True.
Well, I would.
For a 5th-round pick in 2024. How could they? How could he?
Okay, honestly, if we traded for Connor McDavid, what would we have to give up? Think about that.
The entire team.
Dobson, Barzell, and probably a 1st-round pick.
All the 1st-round picks and the keys to the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it would be stupid. There's no team that's going to trade for him. What team I think should trade for him, though? The Senators.
Why would Edmonton trade him?
If they're looking to rebuild and blow it up.
They're not moving.
He's not staying there if they don't win a cup.
Okay.
It's going to be like the curse of the Bambino.
They made the same mistake. You think they're going to repeat the mistake they made with Gretzky? No.
He's going to walk, though, if they don't win a cup.
I don't know about that. How many years has he got left on his deal?
5.
5? A lot of things can happen in 5 years. He could be an afterthought. If he doesn't win a cup, he's just a guy who had a stick in his hand.
That's so sad to say, though. What the things that he's doing is just incredible.
But right, am I right? You know what I'm saying?
He needs the cups. He does.
Needs the cups. Needs the cups, TJ. Needs the cups.
But that's what I'm saying. If I'm him, I'm requesting a trade, but no team's going to trade for him because it's just going to be an astronomical amount.
Wait until he goes to free agency and break the bank for him.
I'd
Could you
break
imagine
the
what he's going to
bank.
get on the free agent market?
16 million at least.
I'd say if he made it to free, more.
By the time, especially if the cap's projected to go up, yeah, he might be making 20.
Cap's supposed to be what, like 96 or 98 3 years from now?
I don't
Something
know.
fucking ridiculous.
Well, I
Yeah.
think Noah Dobson, that $10 million looking really
$10 million is going to
like
go
chump
easy.
change, TJ. Chump change.
But hey, a
Like,
fifth round
get
pick
egg.
from Connor McDavid, we could find the next Wayne Gretzky out there in the fifth round. We can't give that up for Connor McDavid.
No
Anyway,
way.
D-Cut
because-
says Dobson with 2 meaningless points on goals 6 and 7 gave TJ a chubby.
you know what? D-Cut, do not be upset that Noah Dobson continues to perform night in and night out. Patrick Amos, Grump.
Told y'all it's all easy sailing from here. Well, I'm going to disagree there. Oh, here's Drew. I guess he made it back from that nuclear power plant explosion down in Florida. He says, all right, well, the Knicks are back in Miami. I'll be radio silent till 10.
Oh, there he is. He's at the next game. Nick C. Grumpy.
Nick Canetta says, TJ, why are you acting like it's a negative that we have one of the best goalies on the planet? You have to play to your strengths. You can take away one strength from any team, and they'd probably lose. I think goaltender in hockey, quarterback in football, you take those guys away, and your team falls off the planet.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a strength that's wingers, let's say, you can plug in a winger. But you take a goalie out who's just that good, and it derails any success your team's going to have.
Shay says here that 2024 draft is awful. A third round pick for Engvall in 2024 is fine.
That'll probably be the only first round pick that old geezer keeps. Ponyboy Curtis says, Ariel, I left New York a year and a half ago and moved to the Pacific Northwest. It sucks here, but it's cheaper. I miss effing hearing a real New York accent. Ugh.
Yeah, everyone says that I got a thick one on here in the comments.
Mike B says, look at Carter Verhaeghe, who we actually had.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah, look, that could be the new Engvall.
You know, Carter Verhaeghe is not afraid to go into the corners.
Oh, come
You know,
on.
here's the thing. When Pierre Engvall was punished as a kid, his mom would send him to the corner, but he'd never make it there.
You want Barzell to go in the corners too?
He does go into the corner.
Barzal goes to the corners. He just usually gets his ass
This guy,
whooped
the
down
puck
there.
goes in the corner. He rounds it out. Okay, I'll come back the other side. Don't know.
I like Engvall. I think he's going to be good. He's been good for us since we've gotten him. I mean, I know it's a small sample size, but he's been good. I have no issue with
scored.
him. He scored. He's assisted. He's been fine. He's been fine for me. For a third round pick, I'd do it all over again.
Ponyboy Curtis Grumpy.
Ariel's doubling down on Pierre Engvall of all people. Ponyboy Curtis says, dude, Ariel is legit, for real. Bring her on more often.
Thank
She's
you.
bringing sense to the podcast.
We got a few there. I'm just going to rattle off here. For
Ariel going to be a first female NHL coach. Ponyboy, I wonder where Ponyboy is right now. I'm worrying about him. I'm work to being concerned about him again.
Stop. Anyway, Grumpy, continue.
I hate to say it, boys. You know I love you. Ariel speaking hella truth on Dobson, Romanoff, Phenoms. You all need to try to see it through her lens. Like I said, he's in trouble right now. I can tell.
Look, he always likes Romanoff, Grump.
I know.
Double aught buck prep. First time in a while there, double. But Grumpy, go ahead.
I was watching the beginning to catch up. It's funny, Ariel. I was telling my brother this morning, I truly feel I'd like to see the Islanders play the Bruins in the first round. I think we have the best shot.
I mean, yeah. You don't like Carolina's forecheck, and I don't think we're gonna play Jersey. I think Carolina is gonna get that first spot. And I mean, Boston is. I think they're set and primed for a bad upset. Just everyone's talking about them. They're the favorite to win the cup. So much pressure.
Okay. I don't think we should tank for the 8th spot to play the best
No.
team, maybe in the history of the game in the regular season.
No.
That's just me spitballing, of course.
No, I'm not saying tank to get the 8th spot.
Okay.
Grumpy is a genius. Enough said.
There you go.
Cameron.
James Cameron knows.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
There you go. Dika says, restock the draft picks by trading the 3 turnover machines. Barzell, Dobson, and Thompson.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Oh, that's good.
But, if you look at it, if you were another team, who would you want to acquire from the Islanders? Right? Sorokin, Barzell, Dobson. Those are guys they want. Young guys.
No, Nelson, I think people would want to. The Avs would love Nelson on their second line center. Oh, God, they would die for him.
They picked up somebody else instead. Been doing pretty good.
Yeah, because he wasn't available. If Nelson was available, you know how many teams would be calling Lou for Nelson?
That's what I thought they should have done. Move him, get a couple of firsts. I would have done it. Absolutely.
So much.
Oh, here we go. CJ, the Red Lupin Power Ranger, says TJ looks like the white cop in National Security, the comedy action movie with Martin Lawrence.
I'll pull that up so I could do a side-by-side. Grumpy, here you go. Max power.
TJ, I know I've said this before, but you're not losing hair. You're getting head. Oh, wow. LOL. What's it going? Jake, he's from San Diego, by the way, says sans in French equals without. There you go, TJ.
Well, there it is. Okay, I knew it had to be a different language, Grumpy. I wasn't sure. Amari Productions, Grump.
Oh, he's got his old Myles Garrett picture up there. Would it be absurd to say Aho has been our best defenseman this year? Yeah. I get that he's undersized, but he's been a pleasant surprise, and every other D-man has been disappointing. I don't think he's been our best defenseman this year, but he is what he is. I do not dislike Sebastian Aho.
And then Dan P, Grumpy.
Don't sleep on the Columbus Blue Jackets. They always play us tough. Can't lose to Columbus. Don't put yourself in the suck zone with all these with the Floridas and the Pittsburghs of the world.
Do people start hitting the alarm bell? Because we talked about it. If they found a way to lose to San Jose, I feel like people would start hitting the alarm bell. I cannot envision a future to where the Islanders lose to the Columbus Blue Jackets.
If we lose to Columbus and Buffalo and go into, Jersey or whoever it is, all those good teams in a row.
Jersey, yep.
Watch out. Then you see, boop, 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 boop. Wheels coming off.
What do you think Johnny Hockey's saying right now? I mean, between like the oil spill there and how terrible it's been there. I mean, but if they get Bedard, that's a nice team, like a nice top 6.
I think Columbus is a team that plays better next year, but they're still a little bit away.
Yeah, Line A needs to stay healthy too. I mean, the dude has been glass for the last 2-3 years.
I like Kent Johnson. I think he's going to be a real contributor going forward. I like Kent Johnson.
Sillinger too is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
He is good.
Werenski on the back end. Go ahead, Grumpy. Sorry.
I think what he says is, I'm going to go home and punch my wife right in the mouth, making me go to Columbus.
Is that what he's going to say, Grumpy?
Probably.
He says, I want a call from Gary Bettman to be suspended.
I just can't believe he was going to pick Philly.
So this is who I look like. The white cop. My God.
What's his name? Steven Zahn? Is that his name? Is that the actor?
That's Martin Lawrence, Grump.
Not the other guy. The guy you look like Martin Lawrence.
Good. I'm glad you kind of came around to it. Thank you, CJ. I do look a little like Martin Lawrence.
You do.
Andrew L. Grump.
TJ will never admit when he's wrong about Dobson, especially about him getting 10 mil, even though deep down he knows he's not getting that.
Let him double down. TJ, pin that tweet like you pinned the tweet about Lutz trading the first round pick. Pin it.
As soon as we don't win the cup this year, I'll retweet again. Like, man,
okay.
Hey,
fair.
And I'll have to find the $10 million tweet. I'll retweet that. I'll put that on him. Andrew L. Grump.
TJ's taking so long to get back to the comments because he's filtering all the comments, bad-mouthing Dobson and disproving anything he says. Now, that's probably true.
There were so many to get through, Grump.
There is so many comments.
Here you go, Patrick Amos, Grumpy.
Man, TJ is pretty broken up about the Islanders going to make the playoffs.
I know he really wanted Bedard.
It would have been nice to have.
I mean, the fact that you're even talking about it's too late for us to tank. Dude, I told you the day of the trade, we're never getting into the lottery. We're not that bad.
Yeah, I tell you. we have one of these from earlier where Matthew S said, "Come on, Grumpy, 2-8."
Yeah, come on.
Everyone was way too rosy. I had to bring them back down to earth.
10-0.
Honestly, 5-5 might not get us in the playoffs.
Pittsburgh's not. Yeah, but Pittsburgh has to win out, and I think
won
so
today.
does. I know, but
Well,
they win today, and then they drop one to Montreal, so it's like it's going to even out. I feel like.
I mean, it's just that, really Pittsburgh is on pace with us, and Florida's only 1 point behind. So it's like you can't. I think we're going to be fine, but 5-5. If one of those teams gets hot, or both of them, heaven forbid, that's trouble for us. We didn't beat Florida this year, did we? No, I don't think so.
No,
No. D-Cut says Olmark has a full no move clause. He's not going anywhere.
That's good to know. I didn't know that.
Maybe to the bench.
Best take you've had all night, D-Cut.
Whoa! Jeff McLaurin says, TJ, you don't believe the Islanders can contend for a cup if Barzal comes back? I don't either. I can tell you.
Oh man,
I'm optimistic. I'm the optimistic fan, people.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they're gonna. It's a lot.
That's funny.
Nice laugh.
Oh, that's good.
I don't hear that laugh too often, but it's always a funny one to laugh at when you laugh.
It's an evil one, I feel like.
Look at Hudson fashion, Grumpy. You cannot get over that. My God. Declan also says,
since it's impossible to read the comments, the only reads 2 in 40 minutes.
Yeah, I got distracted. I apologize.
Yeah, but you got to go into like conversation with some of the comments too.
Yeah.
HB Carlos, he's from Portugal, says, my prediction before the season started, Islanders top 3 in the Metro. If we get Barzal back before the playoff, let's go, boys. No, we're not going to be top 3 in the Metro.
Got here a comment from Jeff M. Grumpy.
Carolina is still winning games, bro, even though they lost their top scorer. They're good.
Yeah, but the Rangers are like so fugazi. They're like, they don't scare me at all.
Mm-mm.
Even with like they went out and got Kane, scary team on paper, but that's not what they needed at all.
They need defense.
Yeah, they should have went for Chychrun.
Chychrun, yep.
Like, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Imagine like Trouba and Chychrun, and then you put Miller down with like a Schneider or even like the coach keeping Mikkola in instead of Harper. Harper has looked much better than Mikkola. Okay, this is not a Rangers podcast. I watch too much Rangers.
The fact that you know all these about the Rangers is
I know, it's terrible.
Closeted Ranger fan. I'm like,
no,
that's what she is. We got 2 closeted Rangers fans here.
Absolutely not, guys. No
TJ's
way.
a Rangers fan by his actions, and well, Ariel is because she knows everything about all their players.
I do. I watch the same amount of Ranger games as I do Islander games, pretty much.
Oof.
Jacob Kiriakos says, if Jesus himself would play for the Rangers, I still would not like him. But Jesus would never play for the Rangers because the Rags are the embodiment of evil. They're
True.
Satan's team.
True.
Patrick Haymore's Grump.
The other day, Chicklets was bagging on a minor league hockey player for saving his 500th goal puck like he was the biggest loser in the world. F those guys and their whore mothers. That's strong. That's strong.
Yeah, he was not a fan of spitting Chicklets, that's for certain. Got here Rick Roma, Grump.
Ariel's done a great job. She should definitely be back for future shows.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Rick Roma. I appreciate that.
And I need to
Thank you.
laugh on, some ridiculous things that she says.
Grumpy.
Her shameless promotion of the Islanders, good or bad, it doesn't matter. Ponyboy Curtis says, oh shit, Ariel, you from the Meadow?
How do you guys get this information?
Let me tell you something.
I'm like private everywhere.
Watch out for Ponyboy. I'm telling you something. He's off. He's off right now. I'm just telling you, he's off.
No.
Yeah. My Facebook's private, I think. I thought.
Oh man, now she's gonna start maybe by your accent.
No, it's a Long Island accent, not an East Meadow one.
That's a Long Island accent.
Is it really that bad?
I don't think it's that bad. I was watching the Real Housewives of New Jersey, and this one girl,
my show.
This one girl, her name is Danielle. She's new to this year's show, and she was a little bit tipsy and she was drunk. And man, because if you talk
Staten
to them,
Island, right?
absolutely. But if you talk to them a little bit, like when they're not riled up, they maybe have a little bit of an accent. She was unbelievable yesterday with the accent. I was like, oh my God,
I know.
really
I heard it too.
She was really angry.
Oh, Grumpy, you're into Real Housewives? I love it.
Just Jersey.
Me and you, we should start a Real Housewives of New Jersey podcast.
Here's what I find interesting: that this year, the Gorgas are the bad guys this year.
I disagree.
Absolutely, they are. Bravo, they make a bad guy every year. And you're seeing some little things come out that maybe, they keep on saying we're doing this. I'm a Teresa fan. Absolutely. I hate that she's kind of dumb. And I don't like when people pick on dumb people. That's a real hot button for me. If someone's like stupid, don't pick on them for being stupid. I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Andy Cohen does it all the time.
Yeah, he does.
She's on the show. And if I was on that show, I'd bitch slap that clown. Saying,
yeah, she pushed him.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Absolutely. But he's like, oh, do you know what this word means? Those are the type of content.
Yeah.
Just to make her look stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you know what? That's not right. It's just not right.
Yeah. Jennifer, I used to hate her, but now she's really getting.
I like Jennifer.
She's good TV.
I hate Marge. That's the one I hate the most.
Yeah, she's evil.
She's a bitch with a capital B.
You used to watch all those little housewife shows, didn't you, Grump?
No.
I love it.
No. The Warden likes New York. I don't know. Maybe they're too old to do the show anymore. But I only like Jersey.
Jersey's the best one.
Yeah. Andrew L. says, no, Grump, not the Patriots.
Coach
Tommy says, Ariel is so horrid. She plays no defense. You better pick up your game, Ariel.
I know.
Shabble plays no defense. And he also says if Brock misses time and extend him out of games, that might stop us.
You know what? He's not been great.
He's been okay the last.
We shifted to the new system. He hasn't been scoring anymore. Has it?
Tommy Shredder.
Grump hates average Anders Lee. LOL. Probably as much as Bailey. Yeah, they're about the same. They both suck. And it's basically their contracts that I hated. If Anders Lee was making, $15 an hour, I wouldn't hate him so much. James Costa says, what do you think happens to the chemistry of the team when Barry gets back? Barry's not coming back. He's going to the Predators.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Tony Cheese says, I got to admit it, this is not what I thought Sun X would look like. It's true. You're not
sure what picture that was. Joseph B. Grump.
Islanders are pure LI grit, Long Island grit. It makes it better that they suck because we love the gritty defense where no one has skills. I'd much rather watch a skill game.
We got here B40 saying
Real Housewives, take away Grumpy's man card revoked.
No. Real men watch Real Housewives like they wear pink.
I think Joe Gorga would go into. See, I think that he's the one who wants to be on that show desperately. Is Joe Gorga?
Oh yeah, he loves the fame.
He does.
I love Joe Gorga.
Says East Meadow Rocks, Ariel, my hometown.
You probably know my mom.
See, don't say those.
My mom grew up in East Meadow.
Didn't you? Maybe you told us this. You were from East Meadow last time you were on.
I don't know if I did.
I don't know. Drill said, see now, TJ, if Grumpy was talking about housewives with Ariel, this would have been a perfect time to take your bladder infection out on the toilet. Yeah, kind of comes and goes. Freedom Fun Adventure said, just getting here. Filming in Fort Myers. Just wanted to say, TJ looks like Johnny Cakes from Sopranos.
Not Johnny Cakes.
Who the hell's Johnny Cakes?
He was the homosexual lover of Vito Spatafori when he had to go on the lam after they found out he was gay.
Oh, God. I'll pull that up here.
Sheriff Buford T. Grumpy, remind me of punch your mama in the mouth. Brett, that's exactly what I was saying. I didn't know if anyone would pick up on it. I thought TJ would because we watched that movie when we took a road trip down to Dallas. We watched that movie in the car as we were driving. Actually, I watched it and TJ listened. And he says, I'm going to punch your mama right in the mouth. That's exactly what I was gearing up for. Very good.
I don't think I look like this fellow, but maybe I do. Okay, here it is, Grump. Last comment here. Okay. Johnny Cakes.
That's him.
I don't have the Fu Manchu, but yeah.
That's him.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at the end of the show today. First off, Ariel, what do you want to say before we wrap things up?
Nothing really. I always enjoy coming on this podcast. I started watching this a couple of years ago. I think it was the first year the Islanders made the playoffs. I was in the Drive for Five Facebook group, and I saw you guys pop in, and I've been watching ever since. And I'm happy you guys let me on. It's really cool.
We love.
And if you all want to see me talk crap about the Islanders or praise the Islanders, follow my Twitter account.
Hold on a sec. I'm going to pull that up here so we've got it. I'm sorry, Grumpy, but I know you always like to say something before we wrap things up, don't you, Grumpy?
Just remember, the Ariel's from the Meadow.
Yeah, I'm from the Meadow, guys.
Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about, I guarantee we're going to be talking about the New York Jets. We're going to be talking about NCAA
basketball.
So basketball action. We got some other good things on the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man show with Son X. But I do want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't. From TJ, the Grumpy Old Man, and Son X.
If you're looking to find Ariel, where you could go ahead and you don't have to wait so long in between shows, and you can know what she's thinking there. Twitter is a good way of finding her. And that is, we've got the Twitter handle up there, Ariel_Cornfield. And that's how you go ahead and Ariel_Cornfield. And that's how you find her there on Twitter or social media.
Who's that goof next to Ariel? Please tell me that's not your fiance.
The love of my life.
Oh my gosh. Gotta cut that guy.
He makes a bad hockey decision with his fandom, but you know what? He's made a good decision in marrying me.
Oh, there you go.
I like her more and more. But thank you to one Ariel for coming on to this evening. Thank you as always. We love having you on the show, and thank you, Grumpy, as always as well. Thank you for your time, Grump.
Very valuable.
Thank you to all the listeners of the show. We'll be live tomorrow on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the next time we'll be doing our Islander show, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll see you guys tomorrow on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, where myself, Son X, and Grumpy are going to be talking about the world or the wide world of sports. Isn't that right, Grumpy? But thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.